Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to Anglo Lit Fest 2021, where we talk about books and we get to meet the authors that wrote them. My name is Ayana James, and here we are once again talking about books, talking about and meeting the authors. I'm so glad you all have taken the time to join us this afternoon. We have a wonderful lineup of authors here to chat with, so we want to just jump straight into it. But of course, we always start with prayer. And here to start us off with prayer is Reverend Dr. Lionel Richards.
Thank you. Let's bow our heads, lift our hearts wherever we are. Thou, O Lord, art in the midst of us, and we are called by thy name. Leave us not, O Lord our God. Gracious Father, we just want to give you thanks for making Christ Jesus your wisdom and for enabling him to enter into our hearts and make us wise in all that we do. Grant us the grace to seek the wisdom that comes from you, the knowledge which comes from books, and the common sense that is made available to all persons. Grant us the wisdom to use wisely that which you have given to us for the uplifting of all human beings and for enabling us to just praise you day by day. We thank you for all persons who put pen to paper to record their thoughts, to talk about events. We want to thank you for all persons within the Anglican Communion, and especially this afternoon for the authors who are sharing their thoughts and their work with those who are listening. May your Holy Spirit descend upon each one of us so that each may be the limits of his capability and to the best of his ability. And may your will be done in all and through all for the praise and glory of your gracious name. And let all those listening say, Amen. Thank you.
Very much, Father Richards, for opening us up in prayer. So today we're talking about books. I just love books. Books have really been a part of me, since childhood. And the first question that I want to ask, well, we're going to talk to you, Father Richards, of course, but I
Yes.
ask the panelists, and I'm asking to those watching now. You can put it in the chat on Facebook and on YouTube. What is your favorite book and the author? For me, um, I I like the Harry Potter series, of course, by J.K. Rowling. But I mean, even before J.K. Rowling, there was Enid Blyton, and I liked the book The Faraway Tree. The Faraway Tree is a book about a family living in a tree, and the children used to climb up the tree, go on the branches, and go to faraway adventures. And I really thoroughly enjoy that. I have warm, fuzzy feelings with those books. So I don't know, Father, do you have a favorite book besides the Bible? Besides the Bible.
No, sir, I must confess that my writing ability came from my former wife. We were married for 47 years. She was an English literature person, and I was in mathematics and science and that sort of thing. And the truth is that she should have been the writer. She died in 2017.
I'm sorry.
And over the years that we were together, and she lectured at the University of the West Indies, I was able to learn from her a whole lot. So if I speak of books, there are summers when I spend time just reading through the tragedies of Shakespeare. Another summer, I spend time going through his comedies. Another summer, African literature. Another summer, West Indian literature, and so on. So I have no favorite books, but I love all those that
Yes,
I've read.
I know. I sometimes it's kind of hard to pin down one. And Father, those books that you read, I mean, you read Shakespeare, African literature, and so forth. How has that impacted you as a priest in terms of delivering homilies and sermons and even analyzing, scripture? How has that? How has that
Well,
helped you?
I tell you something. By the literature aspect has helped to make me rounded in terms of fluency, in terms of looking at life and being able to draw examples from all over. I remember a friend, a priest in Canada, said to me, "Why don't you write and do an autobiography?" I said to him, "I don't need to, because in what I've written, in the 4 books that I've written, and particularly bits and pieces of my life come through. And by the time you were to take them all out and put them together, you have a biography of who Lionel Richards is. You know?
Right. Well, Father Richards, it's because of COVID. I know who you are, to be honest. I didn't know
You
who
tell
Father.
me about that. You tell me
I
about
Yeah,
that.
I didn't know. So I want you to tell me about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Come again with that question. What?
Tell me a little bit about yourself, like how you got
Okay,
into
all
ministry.
right. Okay. Now you are looking at a person who was born in the southwestern section of the island of Antigua.
Hmm.
Antigua is virtually like the paradise of the Caribbean in a wonderful way. So my birth and years, schooling up to A level done in Antigua. I dabbled a little bit in teaching, and then Codrington College. I from there to Mona, and from Mona to the outer world. And so, if I may put it that way, it was at Codrington College that I met my first wife. Of course, if you hear there's a first, there is also a second. But and I picked up over the years all those things, so that when it came time for me to ministry, let me not leave out that part. I was ordained as deacon in 1971, so that January of next year will make 51 years since I've been in ministry, and that is quite a
Congratulations,
tidy
Father.
time. It's
Congratulations.
a few moons. And my teaching career has also spanned the same period, because I decided that if you're going to be a priest and you're going to be doing it to the best of your ability, then your teaching must also, live up to the same standard. So that in terms of teaching, having done the first degree, I did the PED, I did the Masters in Education at the University of the West Indies, and the doctorate in ministry in the United States. So in Kentucky. Well, about this particular name. So in terms of offering anything to anybody, I like to know that I can give the very best. Best in teaching, best in ministry. And when I put them together, it's my way of saying thanks to God. I don't know when you're going to be taking a few little excerpts, but there are four pieces of work which I've done. The first one was making room for the Caribbean family in the church. And it was a critical look at the church and how persons in the Caribbean could squeeze in. But the one that I'm going to take something from, the two that I'm going to read something short from, is the second one and the third one. The second one is entitled The Cycle of Life.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a book. I'm going to hold the book up to the camera for you because I don't
Sure.
have all the facilities for things. This is a book which looks at what happens to a person from the time he's born to the time he enters the grave. And I want to select something from one of the chapters, and that chapter has to do with healthy living. I'm going to take something from that one,
Okay,
and
sure.
then shall I do it? Do it now,
Yes,
or
yes, go ahead.
I'm going to do it now. All right. Now, this chapter speaks of healthy living and the fact that you have got to start off with your mind and let your mind be the positive one. Pick up with portion from page 14. St. Paul's advice to the Philippians can easily be adopted as the guiding principle for a thought world. Before looking at what he wrote, let me remind you that Paul wrote the letter to the Philippians from a prison, the walls of which could not induce any negative thinking in him. It is a letter of joy, as he lived above the level of the physical limitations. Here then are the words he wrote. Whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are good, of good report, meditate or think on these things. Now, some practical outflow of those thoughts has to do with how we relate to people. Consider, for example, that the implications when we think about these things. If our thoughts are positive, our speech will be positive. If negative, our speech will be negative. Let us get into the habit of thinking positive thoughts and of tasting our words before they pass our lips. Consider as another implication the answer given to an inquirer's question about the health of another. How are you? And this is the part I want to bring to your attention. The question is asked, how are you? A little boy answered, are we well? That was his response because he interpreted the question in the light of the colloquial response, where are you meant all of you, and thus he responded. But there are some other responses that you hear across the Caribbean. Not too bad, the normative answer given in any Caribbean island. Just surviving, a typical response by someone who thinks of his life as filled. And then the pain this a kill me. This is given by an arthritic specialist who glances skywards and observe that it is about to rain. A last response, half and half, given by an octogenarian. And so it is, I took these responses and I said, here we are in the Caribbean, and we can begin to change the way we think by the type of responses that we give. Now, Kyle knows Meditation 365 too. But the moment you see meditation, something like Meditation 365 2, you know there had to be a first. For example, if you see World War II, you know there had to be a World War I. Though at the time it wasn't called World War I because you never expected a second. This is Meditation 365, and this is the first of the two meditations. I'm going to read for you an excerpt from it. It is a meditation, it consists of meditation from all the books of the Bible, plus books from the Apocrypha. Those that are from the Apocrypha, the portion is typed in. But I'm going to read a portion for you, commentary on 2 Samuel 11, chapter 11, verses 1 through to 5. This is David's affair with Bathsheba. And then Bathsheba got pregnant, you remember, and she sent to tell David that she was pregnant. Now, this is captioned, I'm with child. When a woman tells a man, I'm with child, a number of thoughts begin to revolve in his head. His response, however, is going to depend upon the nature and strength of the bond between them. If the baby is the first child of the couple, the man is likely to respond with elation. If the child is one too many for the couple, the man may become irritated or reserved. He would have hoped that the woman had been careful to avoid pregnancy. Invasion of the woman's psyche is likely to reveal a kaleidoscope of thoughts flashing on the mural of her mind. If she is unmarried, she may wonder whether the perceived father will insist on a paternity test to her embarrassment. If she is still at school, what am I going to do? How am I going to continue my education? Will dominate her thoughts until she is brought to reveal the matter to her parents. If the father is a state official or a professional, she may decide that she will not reveal his identity even to her own detriment. When the man suggests abortion, the risks and costs may be more than she is prepared to consider. Two more paragraphs there. Unthinkable as it may seem, even kings involved in such affairs entertain their round of thoughts. David revealed the thoughts that passed through his mind as Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah, sent to let him know, I'm with child. David decided on the murder of Uriah after he failed in his attempt to have Uriah established as the father of the child. It was a classic job in the business of covering up. But which one of us can hide from the Lord? None. It was then time for the Lord to declare that he has been present at the scene. So, having first revealed to the prophet Nathan what David had done, he sent Nathan to David to let him know of the sin he had committed. I have sinned against the Lord, said David. Nathan said to David, the Lord also has put away your sin. The child also is to be born and shall surely die. It is to be observed that the death of the child was not the immediate result of the sin of adultery. It was God's way of bringing home to David the extent to which he, David, had brought dishonor on the name of the Lord. Sins of that nature are usually devastating to the child of God who has slipped and erred. God's laws are not going to change to suit any one of his children who commits adultery. Each offender will have to relate to God by seeking his forgiveness. Do remember the long-term effects that the sin has upon the child or children. Do ask the Holy Spirit of God to walk with you and keep you from those courses that would lead to adultery. So that was an excerpt from the first of the two meditations. And Kyle has the second one, and so you can ask him to give a little taste of that. But those are the four writings that I've done over the period of time. And 2022 is going to be a year of revision for the first one to add a couple chapters to it. Over to you. Tell me.
Well, I have to say, one of the things that when you read from The Cycle of Life, I loved how you said, when you said taste, when we must taste our words. And I'm thinking about, if we actually sometimes have to taste the words that we say, we really would not say some of them, right? Some of them definitely wouldn't come out of our mouth. And that question, how are you? It's just, to me, it's part of what's you? It's just customary, how are you? And I'll be honest, sometimes I don't really wait around to hear what the other person says. It's just like when you see somebody, hey, how you going? That kind of thing. But now, you have me rethinking when I ask that question. I really need to be vigilant about what the
You
answer
have to.
is.
You really have to.
Yeah, I really do appreciate that. And it's just so interesting that you brought in David and Bathsheba, because I really I've been reading about David, because I keep hearing David is a king after God's own heart. And I was like, well, what's this going on here with Bathsheba though, and then even later on with Tamar, how he handled that situation as well. I found it was a little bit disappointing. But we have to remember that we all sin and fall short of the glory of God. So we just have to take the lessons that we have to learn from David, from the mistakes that he made, and hope we can do
one
better.
One of the things we have to remember is that no matter what the situation, God still loves us.
Amen.
So he was a man after God's own heart, not because
I keep hearing that.
Not because of his perfection, but because of his openness with God. You follow? And we give thanks for that.
Yes.
So there we are.
Well, I have to say, I am really interested in your meditations now. I saw it kind of like, when I was mentioned, preparing for Anglo Lit Fest this year, but I really am interested. So how can we get copies of the meditations?
You have it right there. Just speak to Brother Kyle, and you ask him to send a copy to you, and he will tell you all the details. And the other way is that you can just write me a note, WhatsApp note, and I can get it posted. I'll post it out to you, and we make arrangements to have whatever the few cents it's cost. I don't know if this is a program in which one mentions the cost of books.
Yeah, you can talk about it, of course.
Yes, US 30 is TT 195, TT 195 or US 30. So you can just WhatsApp your name and address to me. And of course, making arrangements to just lodge the money in any bank, or Scotiabank, branch of Scotiabank, wherever you are, and the book comes to you. So there are two methods, either through the diocese with Kyle, or through me directly. I have probably about 10 copies of the first one, which is so very close to my heart. And that is something I would just, a half a minute, just say to you. This came after about 20 something years of reading through the Bible every year back in 19, by the time 1995.
Mm-hmm.
And after having done that, one day the question just came to me, why don't you do some commentary on the Bible? And my dear, I sat down. Mathematics was my teaching, so it's my teaching subject. A-level maths, I did work for the University of the West Indies and so on. I sat down, did all the chapters of the Bible, the 66 books of the Bible, and then those of the Apocrypha that were selected. I had 366 days over which to distribute them. So that from the longer books, I took 7 units each. Say, for example, from the Gospel, 7, and from like the book of Psalms, 12 units, because there are 150 Psalms. And so they're spread out beautifully over the entire year. So what it simply asks you to do is at the time of your devotion, you take it and you read the portion assigned and the commentary is there. And the commentary is not the ordinary type you hear from the pulpit. And this is where all my experiences in life are drawn and are recorded there in those commentaries. And if you get through one of the meditations, you'll be able to say, I can paint a picture of Lionel Richards.
Okay. So
For
we got
example,
a little idea of you from these meditations.
Yeah, yes, there's much to learn. For example, I am a country boy. And one unit from the book of Amos is entitled Country Boy Amos. Because Amos was a country boy, and when you read through the book, you will see the type of thing that a country boy, when he goes into town, he doesn't know his danger, you know? And that picture is there at the back of Amos. And when he began to tread on areas that he really shouldn't be, that is when they reported him to the king to say, get this man Amos out of this area, he's causing trouble. You know, there's so many little things about the book. And with all the little anecdotes that I've gathered over the years, they have been put in, you know. But if you get me a little warmer, you may find that I take a lot more time than is allotted to me.
Yes.
And I'm very much appreciative of what you have done for me. And this little conversation we have had, because one doesn't get an opportunity to talk in this way to anybody at all, you know?
Yes, I have to say it was an absolute pleasure meeting you. I mean, I've seen you around like for Synod and for other things, but I'm glad to have an opportunity to talk to you. So I really hope that in the future we could talk some more.
Well, I'm going to ask Kyle to be gracious enough to pass on my number to you.
Yes,
so that
definitely.
we'll be able to
talk some more, for sure.
Yes. Thanks for being a wonderful host. And I hope as a guest, I've risen to the occasion.
Yes, of course.
The hearts of those who have been listening as well.
Yes. Right. Thank you so very much, Reverend Dr. Lionel Richards, for being here with us today. And of course, we are, encouraging you all who are looking on to purchase Meditation 365 with first one and the second one. And of course, it's available at Anglican e-stores, right? So thanks so much,
Father,
for being here with us.
Thank you, my dear. Bless you.
Have a great day.
Good.
Enjoy the rest of your day, I should say. Thank you. All right. So that was our first author, Reverend Dr. Lionel Richards, priest in the Anglican Diocese. And I have to say, I really enjoyed, getting a little Bible lesson in Anglo Lit Fest, right? I mean, that's just so fabulous. So now we want to move on to our brother Devon Mendoza. Devon Mendoza was here last year, right? Devon Mendoza had a book entitled Can Women Preach and Teach the Word of God? That's what he came and spoke about last year. And this year, he has another book which is entitled Insight into Understanding Some Men, right? So, Devon, welcome to Anglo Lit Fest 2021.
Thank you for having me. It's nice being here with you. It's great being here.
Yeah, and I just saying, so you were here 2020, here 2021. So I just assume in 2022 you're gonna be here normal. Right? So you just
I
gonna be
am
here.
expecting that.
All right.
I'm already expecting that.
Yes. So first of all, I want to jump into the title of your book. It said insights into understanding some men. Now,
Yeah.
why some men?
Well, I don't think I will be correct to represent all men, and with the scope of the book, I don't think that the book would do justice to all the issues that a lot of men have to deal with. They question, and even in light of the women, the questions that women have. So yes, some is a safer thing to say. I've learned in life.
Yes.
I'll say this: I've learned in life. Some is much better than making general statements. General statements tend to get you into trouble.
All
So
right.
I'll be safer with some. Yes.
All
I
right.
remember used to say years ago, women, like just women. And I would get licks after I said woman. That was a general statement. I learned some is much, much, much better.
Okay, good. So I'm just gonna read about two lines from your book, and I just want to jump into some aspects of your book, right? You
Yeah.
said communication is a master key to a successful relationship. Therefore, if that key is not being properly utilized, then important doors will remain closed. So, what I want to ask you, and this book is helping women understand men, basically.
Yes.
Essentially, that's what
Understand.
it's
Yes.
about,
Essentially, yes. Yes.
right? So, what I want to ask you is, what are some of the communication mistakes that you believe women make with men? What are some of the things that are done that you think may need improving?
And I will answer a great question. I will answer based on what I've heard several men express, because I wanted to get the information from men themselves who have had several issues with women. One of the things I could use as an example is that of pressing a matter when a guy is quiet. Sometimes a woman may be in a relationship with a guy and she finds the guy is quiet. She finds he's very much reserved and he keeps a lot of things inside, and if you press and you press that guy, you might be pushing him away from you than drawing him closer to you. Now, I'm not saying that a woman, in the book, I'm not saying that a woman is not supposed to investigate certain issues, dialogue with your man, because you need to communicate with him. After all, it is a major key. But one must know when to press and when to hold back. This is why it's important to learn the man that you are with. And that reference that you read comes from chapter 1 of my book. So in that one particular chapter, I'm encouraging women to pay attention to the man that you are with, not another guy, not another family member like your dad, for example. You watch your dad, you saw your father and your mother had great communication, great, that kind of dialogue. If that was some person's reality, and try to place that on the current partner that you are with, but understand that your father is your father and your mom had their relationship. You have your relationship with your partner, and you have to learn the person that you are with.
Okay, that actually is a good bit of information because yeah, I've experienced that where early on, my husband, he's a quiet person, and I want to talk about the issue, and then when the conversation goes left, I want to get vexed at the conversation going left. Right.
And the thing with that is that you really have to know how to pace the conversation, will it progress by me pushing this? Now, given there are some things that needs to be pushed, but how far must you push something? Because by pushing and pushing too much, I am giving you an answer, but I'm not giving you an answer from a place where I feel comfortable to give that answer. I'm giving you that answer because I'm forced. I'm forced to give that answer. And for a woman doesn't like to be forced. So when it comes to the guy doesn't like to be forced either. Because just as the woman wants space to be able to express whatever she wants to express over time when she's comfortable, when she's set, the man wants the same thing because he too is a human being, just like her. You know, so those things, and I'm glad you highlighted your relationship with your husband because I wanted it to connect with people who go through real life situations.
So then, in that vein, how would a woman know that a man is ready to talk about an issue? We wait until he's ready. What do we do?
The learning is everything, you know, because a woman is not going to be able to understand everything about her man of the bat, of the first time she's talking with him, second, third, first year, second year. She's not going to be able to understand everything. Learning is really that, you know, really, really delving into the word learning. A man would read material about women. A man would sit and listen to programs about women, how to communicate with your woman, how to relate with your woman, and so on, what to do for your woman. You need to be romantic. So you know what you need to do? You need to get some flowers and buy that for her. And you go and you buy that flower for her because you have read that about about women generally. But then when this woman you are with gets the flower, I don't want that. You know, because this woman that you are with is not all women. She is not all women, and women love to say that. Don't compare me to anybody in your life. The same thing applies for a man. So that means now a man, he has to learn his woman. He has to learn his wife. He has to. And that is going to take time. No author, as far as I'm concerned, is able to explain step by step every intricate thing with the partner you are with. It comes like marriage counseling. When a minister is there faced with a couple, that minister has to hear this particular couple sitting in front of him. Then another couple comes. He has to hear that each person is so different that you really need to take time and learn your partner. Learn the things that are upsetting to them. You push certain things and you realize, whoa, that's not working. You know, you realize something's not working. And hear this, we do that with our jobs, not so? We do that with our teachers, our classmates. We do that. We try certain things, we push certain things, and we realize, oh, this is upsetting this person. Oh, this person totally flew off the handle. They were raging mad and all that. I'm not going to do that again. So you learn from human relations. It's not simply a textbook thing. The textbook obviously will give you a guide, but the responsibility is upon the individual. I, as a man, I have to learn my wife. I have to pay attention to her mood swings. I have to pay attention the things that interest her, the things that she gets turned off on. I just have to learn her. I just have to learn her, and there's nobody who could really do that for me. I have to do the work. I have to do the work. And we have to communicate. We have to set certain things, which I do in my relationship. Tell me the things you like, tell me the things you don't like. Be free to come and say if I did something that was upsetting to you, you didn't like an approach, come and talk with me. Because the learning is not only observation wise, but communication wise. You have to speak to me. I am not a mind reader. So I could only get a certain level of information about you via me observing you. But you also have to say some things to me so I could be better equipped.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense, Devon. But I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Um, for me, like if I'm going through a stressful situation, I would vent. Right? I have my friends that I vent to, and I would vent to my husband as well. And one of the things that I realized with my husband in the earlies is that when I vented to him, he wanted to fix. He wanted to fix. But I didn't want that. I didn't want to fix. I just wanted him to listen, right? So, of course, just like I said, I told him I don't need advice, right? I just wanted to listen. Now, do you think that men vent to their wives? And if they vent, what do they want? Do they want us to just listen as well, or do they want advice? What would a man want if he's venting?
Oh yes. The a man would want a woman to listen because there are men who vent. They just want to express. They don't want to necessarily have a woman do anything. But I think women are better at recognizing that a man is venting than a man recognizing that a woman is venting. I I think women
Yeah.
are better at that than men because by nature we want to fix. When we hear a problem, many of us don't simply want to hear a problem and that's it. And you keep talking about this problem over and over and over. And let me be a little honest and transparent. For a lot of us, it's frustrating, it's annoying, it's nagging from step one, depending on how you understand women from a man's perspective. It's annoying. It's like you came and you talked. All you did, you talked about the problem, but why aren't you fixing the problem? Why keep talking about this problem? Could we find a solution, please? So
Yeah.
it's tough. The way men are wired, I'll use that terminology. The way men are wired, we are not necessarily wired like that. They hear a problem, even with guys. A guy coming and talk to me, dude, listen, fix the problem. What's wrong? Is the water leaking from the pipe? Well, crying about it is not going to fix it. Screaming is not going to fix it. You need to get some glue, change the PVC. Dude, fix that. So we are by nature fixers. And I had to learn the very thing that you said, that when my wife was talking, she had to tell me, and again, this is where communication comes in. She had to tell me, I am just talking, I am sharing with you. I don't want you necessarily to fix that. And it was a struggle within me, but I had to come to a place to make that a practice of understanding. At this time, she is venting, she is not necessarily looking for me to fix it. So yeah, men do it, but I feel what men vent, but I think women are better at recognizing the venting than what men, when it comes to a man recognizing woman venting. And I think I did touch on some of those aspects in the book as well.
Good. Good. So in your book, you spoke about stop talk. I'm very curious about that. All right. You said that stop talk is a position that several men enter. What is that?
Well, I wish I could find the I wish I could remember
It's in the first chapter.
paragraph.
It says this position is when a man has ceased speaking on a particular issue which had been previously talking about. Right. So
Okay,
is it that he there's a problem in the relationship and he spoke about it and it not working out, so he just goes silent? Is that it?
right. I'm looking to find it because you are on the button. You are on the button. So I'll read, if it's okay. I'll read a
Yeah.
little bit.
Go ahead.
I'm reading from page 9, chapter 1 that I sent. I'll read a little paragraph, about probably 2 paragraphs, so I'll keep it short. To initiate learning your man after the wedding has passed would mean you have missed out on some great education points from the very beginning of the relationship. So my backdrop was dealing with wedding and persons choosing to learn their partner at a later stage of the relationship, which is at the wedding, after the wedding, instead of from the very start of the relationship. So I was, just covering that. Let me continue. This does not mean that one is now in a hopeless state or totally disadvantaged, as you can still employ studies on your husband even now. However, it is always best to involve yourself in effectively learning your man from the point of your first meeting and continue this process throughout your lives. I will also add that the man ought to be doing the same thing where you are concerned. So I'm being equal in my treatment. At this point, I wish to bring up what I call the stop talk position several men enter. This position is when a man has ceased speaking on a particular issue which he had been previously talking about. When a man has shared his intimate feelings about a matter to his companion, but he does not see her functioning in the manner that conveys her understanding. He becomes disenchanted, distant, and silent. So to simply summarize, A man would express something that is very serious to him. He would have expected his partner to agree with him if she says, yes, I understand and whatnot. Now he's looking for the actual manifestation of that understanding, of that agreement, sorry. So the man is watching her operations where the same situation is concerned, probably in a different scenario, but it has similar traits. And when that man does not see that similarity being manifested, he has what I call a stop talk approach. He becomes silent. The man isn't talking anymore because he thinks that I am wasting my time. A lot of men think that I'm wasting my time. I am not talking for talking's sake. When I bring an issue before you as my partner, as my wife or my girlfriend, I'm not talking for talking's sake. I am talking for a result. And if you tell me yes, that you understand and you are willing to move in a way that is productive to our relationship, you have agreed with the issue, yet you continue to function in the way you were functioning before, it doesn't say to me that I am getting anywhere with you. It says to me that you are simply agreeing with me. You are just saying yes for saying yes sake. We are agreeing for agreeing sake, but there is little or no action where that is concerned. So the man will become silent. He will take that stop talk approach. No more, no more talk is going to happen going forward in a major way. And I would carry that as far as to say that it is going to impact other things. It's not only going to be limited for many men, it's not going to be limited to that specific issue. It's not. If it was a situation with how you make fun of something about his voice or his body part and so on, and it's a cute thing that you all do in your privacy, and he's cool with that in that private setting, he will say okay. But when you take that joke and you carry that joke out to other people, like friends come, family come, and he comes and he says, I'm just using this as an example, right, folks? He comes and he says, I have an issue with that, I have a problem, and he talks with you and he explains everything, and you continue to do it, he is going to have a negative take towards his partner going forward. He's going to see it as, I have explained something that is serious to you concerning myself, how I feel, or this matter, whatever. And you have agreed, but you have not carried things to the next step of functioning in a progressive way. What else can I bring to you? And you take the same approach. And the man might not, most men would not, the very first thing you operate like that, totally lock you off. But the reality is, if he sees other things taking the same pattern, and I know many women would say the same thing for men, and I fully agree with that. But when the man sees other things taking the same pattern, that you are repeating the same thing, then that becomes an issue, and he's going to speak less and less and less. So he's going to become distant from you. He is going to be disenchanted. So I hope I answered your question. It was a long answer.
Yes, yes, you did. Thank you very much for that.
Yes.
I don't know if what you read is what you had planned to read, but was that the same, or you have another excerpt that
I,
you want
I,
to read?
I had another portion, but I don't want to rob anybody of their
Okay.
time.
All right.
I want to, yes,
All right. But I
yes,
have one final question before we go through. With
yes,
regards to how men relate to women and how women relate to men. I mean,
yes,
they say the family is where we should learn those things, right? We learn our social skills, communication skills. But do you think
yes.
that church should be intentional and actively teach its members about communication? Well, I'm using the Anglican Church as an example, like the Mothers Union or the ACMS or the youth councils and so forth. Should that be an intentional, I don't know, part of the mission of the church?
I believe 100%. I, I've had conversations with women in church, and I'm going to be very cautious. I'm not going to call any denomination. But I've had conversations with women who have expressed a serious lack of that happening within the church, that is not being done in certain respects, in certain denominations, certain groups. So yes, I believe that must be done. It should be done, because one, when Almighty God created man, God created the family. He created Adam and Eve, and he wanted them to be, fruitful and multiply. So his first focus was not the church. Not I'm not shooting down the church, I'm not going against the church, but his first creation was not the church. His first creation was the family. So the body of Christ, we as saints, we as believers, ought to be promoting the kingdom of God in relation to family more than anything, in holiness and righteousness. And I would even highlight that other groups do teach family values in their own perspective. They do teach you how to relate with your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your husband and wife. They do that in schools. In schools. They do that on the job site. Yes, because people have conversations. Several people go to work and they talk about some problem with a family member, and they're getting advice from co-workers, from employers. People will even stop taxi drivers and talk to taxi drivers about stuff. So the society is holding down the fort in terms of communicating relationships. TV and all around us, we are having communications with relationships and so on. So the church, who is the pillar of God's standard on planet Earth, wow, we definitely have to be doing that. Have to be doing that. We cannot have all other organizations, all other groups, all other peoples, even persons on the block, guys on the block, fellas who think they don't have that father home. The father is probably in jail, or he's dead, or he's elsewhere, whatever. They are seeking a family with guys on the block, and they are like, you are my brother, you are my, so family is incredibly important to be taught. Relationships is very much important to be taught. Husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, by the church. Very, very important. And the Bible itself talks about relationships. So definitely, yes.
Yeah. And I see that your favorite book is the Bible. I was going to say not the Bible, but I see your favorite book is the Bible. I'll allow it.
Well. Here's the thing, because I heard when you asked earlier, and yes, I have to admit, there's no other book, and I'm not trying to sound cliche. I'm not trying to sound any kind of way because of my position, but it's just the honest truth. My genuine favorite book is the Bible. Yet I do appreciate, as our minister said when he opened, I do appreciate other books. There are a lot of books I find very engaging, very delightful. And I want to name some books very quickly. There's a book by Diane Lawson, a local Trinidadian author. Her book is Names of God, right? So I want to big up local first, and then I'll mention two quick persons from outside. Haley's Bible Handbook, that's by Henry H. Haley. You're going to expect Bible stuff from me. That's just how it is with me, right? And another book is Bible Prophecy Answer Book by Ron Rhodes. So that's a scholar, and yeah, that's very, very informative. So I read quite a number of books, but I have not found any book to reach the level of the Bible, and that's my favorite. But I appreciate a lot of books. I love a lot of books, but favorite, Bible.
All right, Devon. So I want you to hold up your book, show us your book, and tell us where we can get your book.
Okay, so this is my book. Everyone can get this book on Amazon as well as Kindle. It is found hard copy, soft copy, sorry, Kindle. The price will be cheaper. My persons can get it from me as well. You could reach out to me. I'm on Facebook. I go by my Facebook name, my middle name, because persons would see right here. You'll see with Devon A. The A is the Anthony. So I'm using my middle name. I didn't get to use it much when I was younger, so I am using it now. So my Facebook name is Anthony Mendoza. So persons can message me there, and that's a very, very quick way to get onto me. Another way to get onto me is to get the book is through our business, Hope and Truth Publications. So that's our business page on Facebook, and it's also Hope and Truth Publications on Instagram. So you have Amazon, you have Kindle, all right, for those who are in the States and those who like soft copy, enjoy yourself with the soft copy. And you have also Facebook, Anthony Mendoza, message me, and you have Hope and Truth Publications on Facebook as well as Instagram. Just send a message. We'll make the contacts, we'll make the arrangement. The cost of this book is $120 TT. $120, and persons could buy it as a gift. Buy it as a gift for yourself. Learn about us ladies, get a little insight, and men, see if I represented you brothers good, so you all can check it out.
All right, that is so fantastic. I really enjoy talking about the book, and I mean, I think this book could be a whole segment in itself because I think there's so many aspects of it that we could tackle. So I really want to wish you all the best with this book, and we'll see you in 2022 for Anglo Lit Fest, right? Devon, you're coming back, right? You're coming back for sure. Thanks so much, Devon, for taking time to chat with us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, and you are so welcome. You all have a fantastic one. God bless.
Thanks. Thank you. Oh wow, that was I really could have gone on talking about the issues of communication, because communication is so important in terms of maintaining positive relationships. So I think Devon's book is a must buy for maybe those who are getting married in long-term relationships, married for years, so look out for Devon's book. So up next we are going to talk to Djennicia Francis. Djennicia Francis is an educator, a pageant queen, and she's the author of the book In the Mirror and coloring book In the Mirror, Color Me Affirmations. So she graduated with her degree in psychology, and she embarked on a journey that led her to teaching. And she received certification in strategies for dealing with low self-esteem in children and counseling children and youth. And when she manages to tear herself away from her books, she trains aspiring pageant queens in public speaking, sings in her church's choir, and binge watches Japanese anime. Wow. Djennicia, welcome to Anglo Lit Fest 2021.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Well, Djennicia, your favorite book is the Vampire Huntress Legend series, and you said you want to be specific, The Bitten, right? So why is that your favorite?
So the Vampire Huntress Legend series by L.A. Banks is my favorite because it was the first time I had seen Black people as main characters in a book. It was the first time I had seen Black people represented well in a book. So these characters were the main characters. They were wealthy, they were intelligent, they were considered attractive, they were spiritual, they were the emphasis of the book, and they were morally sound. And it was so nice to see that power boost given to persons that look like me. The main character, Lionel Richards, is a dark-skinned, pretty much built like me, hair pretty much like mine, woman, and that was the first time. The Bitten in particular, she got an epic power boost, and she just kind of put some people in their place in such a way that made me say, yes, yo, yeah.
Well, that sounds kind of interesting, so I may investigate it, I may
Black Girl Magic is swinging so high,
yes.
I'm not sure you would know what to do.
Yes, I love that. Thanks for that, Djennicia. So one of the things that I think caught my eye when I was reading your biography is that you were focusing on one of these certification that you received is strategies for dealing with low self-esteem in children. So why low self-esteem in children? Why focus on that?
The reason you focus on it is because it's so prevalent. So on one hand, I deal with helping parents build self-esteem from the jump. But the fact is, we can't just start with children who are just born. We have to deal with the fact that children are older. They've already had their experiences, and many of them, their experiences led them to a place where they don't believe in themselves. So it's important that we take the time off to help take them from that place where they have no self-esteem and give them the tools necessary to build that self-esteem to a place that as they meet other challenges as they grow older, they're better able to navigate it.
Yeah, so I guess that's what led into this book, In the Mirror. I mean, Djennicia, it was the sample that you sent was just so cute. Of course, there's a little black girl, of course, and I just love that because I have a daughter, that's a little black girl. So I appreciated that. But what I also appreciated is that this little black girl was trying to help a boy. She was trying to lift his self-esteem. So I was like, okay, boys and girls could get into this book as well.
Yes.
And I mean, one of the things, I mean, I'll be real honest with you, is that self-esteem is not an issue that is spoken about regarding boys. We talk about behavioral issues, maybe academic issues, but self-esteem, I think, is more towards, I hear that more directed towards girls. So I like the fact that we dealing with boys' self-esteem as well. So talk to me about the idea for this book, where it came from.
So one of the main things I must consider is me reading L.A. Banks' book, and also when Black Panther came out, and once again I got that like awesome visual of people that look like me.
Mm-hmm.
I became determined to ensure that my book had a young lady of color, and that even her friend is a young man of color. Okay, it's important that children get this version of themselves that is powerful and strong and kind and beautiful. So that was definitely a part of the inspiration. Additionally, as somebody who believes in the word of God, I do believe that life and death is in the power of the tongue. And the more I learn about it, even when I did my coaching certificates, they talk heavily about what you speak. So the things we say to ourselves are the things that we believe. And the things that we believe are the actions that we will take on, the behaviors that we will move forward with, which then basically designs our life, because what we choose to do is oftentimes what comes back to us. And I wanted children to understand that they had that power. So in many cases, children, let's say a child can't just move, right? A child isn't in charge of their finances. A child isn't in charge of their living arrangement because they're still at that age, but they can be in charge of their words. And it's important that they know that they have at least that authority. So it doesn't matter if someone else isn't saying what you need to hear. Take the time off and you get to the mirror, you get to your reflection or just during the day, and you speak life into yourself. And that way you have the power to build your own self-esteem. As it pertains to Izzy and Taj, I really did want it to be a boy and a girl because I'm dealing with children. So often we get focused on raising the self-esteem of girls. So yes, I'm all for building up women. I genuinely am. However, I'm for building up people. And if we're looking for a society where women are treated better, we cannot forget the other set of people that live alongside us. We need men with emotional intelligence if we want these movements to go forward, if we want a balanced, functional, healthy-minded society. So yes, it was necessary that both Taj and Izzy in this book. Additionally, Izzy needed to be of African descent for me, while Taj needed to be of East Indian descent for me, because we're living in Trinidad and Tobago, and my book came about around the time where people were being exceptionally racist towards one another. And I don't stand for that. I really don't care who you are. I do not stand for that. So it's important that we teach children different. So your parents walking around or your aunts and uncle walking around with these kind of beliefs, at least we have the opportunity to show them something different. Let them see healthy friendships between persons of different ethnicities. Let them see that the color of these children's skin or the texture of their hair has nothing to do with the character of their soul. So all of those things are the things that I put out there when I created this book. I was so specific, it probably was ridiculous for my poor illustrator. But I needed all of these messages to be put out there because we deal with so many ills. And children are getting all of these subliminal messages. Well, I'm taking charge of that and doing my part to change the messaging that they're receiving with this book.
That is fantastic, Djennicia. I just love that. And the next question actually was about the illustrator because the book is just so pretty and colorful and lovely. So highlight the illustrator's name and what were the specifics that you wanted the illustrator to do.
Okay, so the person that I chose is a lady all the way in the Ukraine. Y'all thank God for social media. Like, how else would I have met somebody in Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Her name is Valeria Leonova, because again, not English. I can put it in the chat so people can look up if there's anybody looking for an illustrator. And for one thing, we spent a while getting Izzy's complexion right. Like, it may sound so funny.
No.
I'm not going to lie, because I had seen so many publications where darker skin characters look like mud. I'm pretty sure we've all come across it. Or their complexion is so dark without any kind of definition, so you can't even tell the person has an eye. You can't tell their hair from their skin. And I don't like that, because that all plays into the representation where they consider dark-skinned persons dirty and ugly. And again, that's not what we're doing here. So I needed to make sure that when you look at this little girl, you see every feature and that she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And that she knows it. And
Mhm.
look at Taj and see he's a young man of East Indian descent. It matters, because representation matters. People can argue it all they want, but I know what happened to me as an adult. Those experiences I'm talking about with the book and Black Panther, those things were as an adult, and they made me so emotional. You can imagine what that would mean for children.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
I mean, we saw the effect of Black Panther, like, we saw it, right? So,
I went home that night in tears. I was like,
right? Like, I couldn't immediately get up off of my seat. Like, I had to soak in what I just looked at. So yeah, that is important, and I'm so glad that you paid so much attention to detail, because the book is absolutely beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. And what has the response been so far for your book?
So far, a lot of people really like that. They like the fact that I have this young lady of African descent. They said that their daughter looked at it. I think one of the best comments was that the daughter looked at it like, "Mommy, this girl looks like me." So she messaged me and said, "Listen, I need to get this book for my daughter," because she saw the cover and thought that the girl looked like her. And I was like, "Yes, that's what we're doing."
Yes. That's what you're going for, right?
That is exactly what we're going for, because Isabel could look like almost any Trinbagonian little girl. Taj could look like a couple of Trinbagonian boys. Like, the point is for them to see themselves represented in media, and in this case, the form of media is books.
Yeah. So is there a part, something that you want to read first to share with us from the book?
Sure, no problem. I think I'll read the same excerpt that I sent you.
Okay.
Yes. So let's go. So I keep reusing. This is the first printed copy of my book that I ever got.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very much attached to it. So every time I need for a function, it's always this book. The poor thing is a year old now and going through it, but it's always with me.
Yes.
Okay, so Isabel Inc., sweet and jolly, is the youngest and most adorable Inc. family member. She knows that her words can change her reality. "What do you see in the mirror, Flapper?" Isabel Inc. asked her dog. "Woof, woof," Flapper barked. Isabel bent down lovingly. I know, she responded, petting Flapper on the head. "You see the flappiest papa in the world." "Woof," Flapper barked happily. So this is Isabel and Flapper. See, what he actually sees is bones, but What do I see, you ask? I see a princess, beautiful and kind. Yep, I am beautiful and I am kind. With a skip and a hop, young Isabel Inc. waved goodbye. Bye-bye, Flapper. Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. I'm off to get Taj and go to school. Bye, Izzy. Her parents waved in reply. So this is Izzy. She says she is a princess, so she sees herself as a princess. She is beautiful and she is kind. So, when she got to Taj's house, Izzy bounded through the front door with shouts of, "Good morning, Mrs. Mark," and "Good morning, Mr. Mark." She dashed up the stairs, skidded to the right, and peeked into the third room. Inside the room, she saw Taj staring at himself in the mirror. So this is Taj looking at himself, and Izzy all excited that her friend is also looking in the mirror. She bounced into the room. "Oh, you are looking in the mirror," she cried. I love doing that too. Izzy was so excited to have company who could actually talk back that she did not notice how sad Taj looked. Look at Taj's face. He's not as excited as Izzy right now. Do you want to know what I see when I look in the mirror? I see a powerful little lady who can do anything she puts her mind to, she beamed. I am powerful and I can do anything I put my mind to. Tad stared at his best friend with his mouth open. How do you see any of that? He asked, astonished. What do you see, Taj? Izzy asked in return. All I see is me. Ugly, weak, regular old me, sighed Taj. Whoa, how could you see that? Izzy asked, shocked. That's what I see, Izzy. So that's what I said, cried Taj. So this year, I know you said one of the things we had to do was point out why we chose the path that we chose. So this here is the difference in how they spoke about themselves as such how they saw themselves. So Izzy saw a powerful little lady who could do anything. So she has her muscles. She's seeing herself as a speaker, an astronaut, anything. But because Taj is saying that he's weak and he's ugly and he's regular, this is how he sees himself. To me, well, of course, you'll have to get the book to see what Isabel tells him. But to me, it's a powerful image that shows what happens when you speak negatively about yourself. So even as a teacher, I don't allow my students to say negative things about themselves. You have to teach them how to speak life because that is how they would see themselves. And that's what's happening in that scene. Because Taj is speaking negative things, he's seeing himself as that weak, ugly person, which means he isn't going to give his all in school, isn't going to give his all in life, simply because he doesn't see himself as anything special. So get your copy of In the Mirror, Positive Affirmations for Children, to find out how Isabel helps him build his self-esteem by using his words.
That is just so fantastic, And the thing is, we need cheerleaders like Izzy in our lives.
Yes.
To pump us up and, to let us know. Sometimes, like when you're going out, right? And you're getting dressed with like your friends, and you figure, oh God, this outfit, not looking good. And you have your girlfriend, I'll be like, girl, want you, girl, look at you.
I have a friend like that.
Yeah, I have a friend like that.
I have that friend. I have a friend who tells me all the time. I'm like, girl, you're looking so hot. Like, girl. And she's like, really? I thought I was looking fat. I was like, what? Girl. And she's like, you tell me that all the time. But it's true. Because to me, she's exceptionally gorgeous, but she can't see it. So until she starts seeing it herself, I'm that person skating in, making sure you remember.
Yeah, we really need to pump up each other and really, build up each other's confidence because, whatever would have happened that would have, created, well, of course, us have low self-esteem. We really need to pump up each other, So before we wrap up, Djennicia, I want you to share with us what are some ways in which parents can assist their children with building self-esteem. What can they do?
This is actually one of my favorite topics. So one of the things that parents that seem to not notice they can do is speak life into themselves. So children mirror us, right? And if your child gets accustomed to you walking in the mirror, oh God, I'm looking raggedy here. Oh God, mom to my head, boy. Your child picks up that behavior and that helps form their self-concept and their self-narrative. So one of the major things parents can do to help their children raise their self-esteem is by raising their own. Your child needs to see that role model. In the meanwhile, though, y'all can do it together. So affirmations could be a family affair. That's one of the things in the book. There are activities for the classroom, for the home, for the child to do on their own, because it can be done in any space. But everybody gather around, go in front of the mirror. What is the affirmation for today? I post some on my page. If the affirmation today is I am worthy of love, we're standing in front of the mirror together and saying it. I am worthy of love. If the affirmation today is I am strong, get your body involved. So when you're teaching your children to do affirmations, let them know that there's a connection between their body and their mind. So we can't say, I am strong. That's not really gonna do it, right? But if we put our muscles up, get that pose going, and say, I am strong, you are making that connection with your body and your mind. And that emotional impact makes what you say stay. It lasts longer that way. So change how you speak about yourself. Consider your body language when you're doing your affirmations. Do the affirmation activities together and speak life into your children. You tell them every day you are loved. You tell them every day you are important, you are kind, you are powerful, you can do this, I believe in you. Children need to hear those words because a lot of people, you will not believe, their negative self-talk sounds like their parents.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So it's important that when your child thinks about themselves, like the negative voice in their head should never be you. It should never be you. So you take charge of that situation by speaking life into your children. Heck, tell your children all the things you wish your parents might have told you. That works for some people, but get it out there. Fill their world and their mind with so much love and worth because they have enough things to deal with when they go outside. The battle shouldn't be home.
Amen. You preach a sermon there, girl. And it's about breaking the cycle. Our parents probably didn't have the emotional tools to do that. So now with your book, Djennicia, we are creating probably a generation of young people, not just women, young people, who will be able to correct those mistakes. So I am just enthused by this. Where can we get the book though, Djennicia?
You can get it directly from me. I can also put my information in the chat. I am on Facebook. And you can message me directly on WhatsApp. So I'll put my contact information in the chat. It's 760-5699. So that's 760-5699. I put the correct spelling for my name in the chat as well. Djennicia Francis. So you can contact me on Facebook. I put the Instagram name in the chat and you have my contact information. It's also on Amazon if there's anybody outside of Trinidad and Tobago who is interested in the Mirror Positive Affirmations for Children by Djennicia A. Francis.
Fantastic. I want to wish you all the best with this book. I hope that you get inspiration to write more books like this.
I have several stories ready. We come
in. So next year then? Next year?
Listen, it was supposed to be this year, but God knows what he's doing. Everything in its season.
Yeah.
So next year I'll be in Anglo Fest again, just like I think it's Mr. Devon.
Yeah. Nice. It was so nice meeting you, Djennicia. I love your energy and I really want to wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. I love being here.
Great. Thank you for coming.
You're most welcome. Bye-bye, everybody. And get my book.
Yeah.
Especially for Christmas. Boss Christmas present right here.
Wow, that was just awesome. Thanks so much. I'm thinking about what Djennicia just said. I don't know how many of y'all are Grey's Anatomy's fans, right? But Amelia Shepherd, who's the neurosurgeon, she does a pose before she does her surgeries, a superwoman pose where she has her chest out and her arms back, and she stands up ready before she does her pose. So, I just really love that idea about affirmations and just really speaking life into each other. So thank you for that reminder. So now we're moving on to our next author, Sian Cuffy-Young. She is a wife, mom of 3 children, age 78 and 6, and she's a nature lover, right? She's been picking up garbage after people her entire life and learning from a young age that you always leave a place cleaner than you've met it. So now she's on a mission to not only teach that message to her children, but to children all over the Caribbean and the world. She is the waste management educator, consultant, social entrepreneur, and founder, CEO, and principal consultant of SAIL. Did I pronounce it correctly?
SAIL,
Environmental Services Limited. Right? So we have Sian Cuffy-Young here with us. Good evening. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
Hi, Ayana, and hello, everybody. Thank you so very much for having me.
So what's the name of your book and what was the inspiration for writing your book?
So the name of my book is Kai's Magical Adventures Where the Garbage Goes. And there were several things that inspired me to write the book. Coming from a little bit of what you said and a little bit of what Djennicia just mentioned, I am a mom of a young lady. She's 8 now, and she, as I started teaching her brothers and her about the environment, she started to ask me tons of questions. Granted, I was also giving presentations to children in primary schools across the country. So literally whatever they learned, I teach at home. And she, a day she said, so mommy, well, what happens to my garbage after I throw it away? Where the garbage truck going? And I was like, that's a very good question, sweetheart. And I answered her question. And children, when I was giving presentations and lectures, children would ask me what the same thing. I said, but miss, so it don't just disappear? It's like, no, it doesn't just disappear, honey. Somebody, it now becomes somebody else's responsibility, right? So for me, it was very important that teaching children about proper waste management is critical for us moving forward. I know we just had COP26, Conference of Parties 26 for the the environmental people out there. That was one of the biggest events of the year where they had climate change discussions, right? And oftentimes waste isn't really lumped in the climate change conversation. So for me, it was very important that we teach our children about how they should be managing their waste. If littering, and the children will tell you, one of the things that happened, Diana, I realized is that the children knew it is the adults in their lives who taught them differently. So they know that littering is bad. But they will say, but miss, mommy just tell me throw it on the ground, But I know I'm not supposed to do that. And in their own little minds and out of respect for their parents and their guardians, they will reluctantly drop it on the ground. But they know what they're supposed to be doing. So this for me is just a reiteration of that process for them to know that, yes, you are thinking the right things, you're doing the right things. You have to encourage others too. So it's not just you. So you have to tell your friend, and your friend has to tell your friend, and your friend has to tell a friend, so that we all will continue to, exist in clean spaces, because ultimately that's what I want. I want to walk out the road and not see garbage on the road at all. That's ultimately what I want. So if we can continue, if we could start teaching them from young. I tell people, I say my father is 76, right? I said, if my father could still change as a 76-year-old man, it have room for we to change. It have room, right? So if and daddy was the one who taught my brother and I about, you always leave a place cleaner than you've met it, right? Daddy's just saying bits of paper lying on the floor. Right? You remember that song?
Of course.
Right. So when the children were younger, much younger, I used to sing that. Right? So they know, okay, no pick up the toys. We still tell them that every day, as a rule. No toys will be left on the ground, because why? You always leave a place cleaner than you've met it. So it is teaching them about those things, encouraging them, so that when they become adults, their minds already attuned to protecting the environment, to becoming eco-heroes, as I call them. Not that somebody else has to fly in and tell them what to do, no, because they are the hero. They have the power within themselves to make the difference. So that's why writing this book was very, very important to me.
That's such a valid point. Sometimes I ask myself, Sean, why are we so nasty, boy? It infuriates me sometimes. You're driving and you just see somebody pelt something out of the car. Like,
in this day and age, you want to tell me?
I mean, I don't know. I think I might be showing off my age, but remember, I don't know if you remember Charlie.
Yeah. We are the Charlie generation.
Listen, that had an impact because Charlie was real nasty. Yeah, he was real nasty. That I know that had an impact on me. I mean, I'll be real honest. Sometimes eating something and I would stuff it in my bag. I would leave it. I would put it in my car because I just don't want to throw it on the ground.
Yes,
You know,
because the
so
premise was Charlie was created in the 1980s
yes,
by the now deceased Pat Bishop. Many people
yes.
didn't know that because Pat is was an artist, right?
Mhm.
And she created Charlie, and the whole campaign was to chase Charlie away because Charlie lived in nasty places. You know, I remember there was I think it's Boyo and Carla.
Yeah.
There was something boy, and the word hibunctious.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And I remember once my brother learned that word, every essay he wrote, he used the word hibunctious. But anyway,
Hi, Bunctious Harry or something like that.
yes, somebody was hibunctious, right? And the whole thing was nobody wanted to be Charlie. Nobody wanted
Yes.
to live in the spaces that Charlie lived. So the campaign was about chasing Charlie away. Now, I have my own goals and thoughts. I said this seed, because I had a conversation that I was telling my son. I said I have a conversation with my Jesus, and I asked him, why you put me in waste management? Why I couldn't do something else? All the things that I'm out here for people to do, you give me waste management.
Somebody had to do a chant, somebody.
But it is part of my gift and my mission to continue to impact the lives of people and to get them to shift the way, as I like to say, transform the way they think and act towards waste. This is just the book is just my program with a part of my program for children, but I also have courses and workshops and training stuff for adults and for businesses as well. So for me, it is like it's marrying a number of things coming together so that the big picture is that we all will become concerned. And because we like to complain, we will say, but, and I tell people, I said, last time I checked, the fridge didn't have foot and arm, you know. The fridge didn't walk to the river. Hello.
Exactly.
Somebody drove something and put it there. Somebody threw the tire there. Somebody, you know, and I remember a young man, I went into a secondary school and a young man said to me, say, miss, but if I don't throw it on the ground, CPAP ain't got nothing to do. And I had to remind him, I said, son, CPAP's job is not to pick up after you, you know. CPAP was created to help beautify the country. It's not their job to pick up after you. You just drink the soft drink, so you should be responsible for disposing it. Why is it their job to pick up after you? They didn't eat the KFC, they didn't drink the soft drink, they didn't drink the water, they didn't eat the lollipop. So why is it their job to pick up after you? No, 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 baby. That's not their job. And he watched me like, Missy have a point, you know. You understand? But it's not. And that's the thing. We tend to hand over responsibility to someone else rather than accepting the responsibility ourselves. And that is part of the problem, because we say, oh, well, if we don't do it, that so and so ain't going to work and so and so. And I swim call job and I this job, and we cast the responsibility to somebody else or some other organization. But I remember, you know, nobody has to tell you to have a bath every day. Nobody has to tell you to brush your teeth. Nobody has to tell you put clothes on. So why is it that I have to tell you to put your garbage in a bin? You know, and it is those things that I think about all the time. And that's why, I mean, working with children is, I tell people, that's the favoriteest, that's my word, my favoriteest thing about what I do is working with children, just because of their sheer enthusiasm and excitement, and you know, the willingness to, they're so malleable. You could see the little wheels in their mind turning. You know, you could see when the light bulb goes off and say, oh, miss, I didn't know that. You know, so that is why this kind of work is important to me. You know, sometimes I feel like they ain't listening, you know. You know, it becomes very tiring.
Yeah.
I remember watching Greta Thunberg was being interviewed by Trevor Noah. I'm a Trevor Noah fan from The Daily Show. And he asked her, do you ever get tired of saying the same things over and over again? And she's like, yeah. Sometimes I wish I don't have to say the same things over and over again. You know, and that's how I feel too. Like sometimes I wish I don't have to say the same things over and over again. But until I see the change that I want to see, I will keep saying it over and over again.
Amen.
Because I know that at the top level, decisions are being made and things are happening. But Jack and Jenny on the ground still don't know what's going on. So somebody has to try and communicate with them as much as possible. So I'm looking at different things. I am an introvert. People don't believe me when I say it. So I do like to run and hide. I do like hiding a little. But I think this mission that I have been blessed with is not just about me. So that's what I've been very reflective the last couple of months. I guess the close of a year does that.
Yeah.
But I realize that I do want to help. I do want to do more. I want to write more books. So, my editor says, Shan, you can't stop at one. Come on, you can't do with that, man. You have to write more. So I was like, okay, mission accepted.
Nice. Well, I see on your apparel a lovely young lady, Kai, there. So tell us about Kai.
So Kai actually is my daughter. Her name is Kaya, right? But I call her Kai for short. And just like Djennicia, it was very important for Kaya to see herself represented in books. And because I tell people, the book is called Where the Garbage Goes. How can I make a garbage truck the subject of the story? But it was more important for her to see herself. Because she says it's her book. She says, Mommy, this is my book, and this is mine. And I said, yes, honey, this is yours. And then her little brother comes, so Mommy, where's my book?
Well,
so I had to, so I had to write book for him too, right? Giving Mommy work. But, for me, it is, Kai is my daughter. When I was getting the illustrations done, I sent a picture of my daughter to the illustrator. And I said, make her look as close to this little girl as you possibly can. And that's what she ended up. Big bright eyes, just like my daughter. Her hair is just like my daughter's. Her skin tone, everything. So when Kaya sees the book, she's like, Mommy, look me.
That's cool.
Super, super excited. And of course, I had to put the little brother in the book too, because he wanted to, see himself and things. So the little brother in the book, I am in the book, Daddy is in the book.
Nice.
Right?
Talk to me about the illustrator. I want to highlight illustrators as well. Who's the name of the illustrator, and what was the process, for illustrating the other aspects of the book?
Right. So I found my illustrator on Fiverr, which is an online marketplace. I did originally have a local illustrator in mind. However, illustration styles differ. And as much as her illustration style is awesome, and I told her I would definitely use her for other things, I wanted the style of the illustration to be slightly different. So I went on Fiverr, I looked at illustrator after illustrator after illustrator just to see which one's design style matches what I had in my head, because I knew what I saw. So then I found Daniel, and what was also important to me is that he had experience drawing characters of African descent, drawing people who looked like us. So that was extremely important. So when I looked through his portfolio and I saw that he did, I was like, okay. Because the first person I had, and I had to go through 2 illustrators, the first one I had made an absolute mess. She did the first 16 pages and they did not look anything like what I wanted. So, and I had already paid her. So now I had to find somebody else and pay him to do over her first 16 pages. This is a 32-page storybook. Do over her first 16 and finish the other 16 of the book. So, I mean, I have learned tons of lessons along this journey, right? That I encourage others as well too, because a lot of people, since I put the book out, have been asking me questions about the process. I've posted a few becoming a book author sessions where I just share, with people free of charge, where I just share with people my experiences so that they don't bump their heads in the same places I bumped my head.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times as authors too, we tend to take on a lot. And in terms of, we want to do everything in the book for ourselves. We want to write the book, edit the book, so, and I was like, no, this is not my area of expertise. I wrote the book and I said, I'm going to have somebody edit it. I'm going to have an illustrator. I'm going to, I figured out how to get it on Amazon myself, right? But the illustration and the publishing, because I self-published, and people, that's another question I get asked a lot, self-published versus publishing house. Because there are a few local companies that act as publishing houses for people, right? And so they were asking me, what the pros and cons are. But because this was my first book, I wanted to understand the process.
Good.
So I wanted to do it myself. Good. And now that I've had that experience, I could safely say now, okay, for the next one, do I want to do it again? Or do I want to hand it over to someone else? But even in the handover, I also have to ask very specific questions to make sure that I get what I need from that publishing house. Are they going to market the book for me, or do I have to market it myself? Are they going to own parts of the book? All of those things are questions that you have to ask, because we will think, oh, publishing house is something easy. I don't want to do all that work. Right? But at the end of the day, you really need to ask the hard questions. I tell you, this is my fourth child. So
right.
For me, I have to make sure that it is taken care of.
Yes.
So with asking those questions, I decided, all right, well, I'm going to do this one myself. And as I said, I hit my head, I'd run out of money, all sorts of things, and then I realized, because I didn't know how much putting out a book costs. So yeah, I ran out of money. I thought that I knew, and it reached a point where I was like, okay, the book had to finish, it can't stop. So I did whatever I needed to do. I took on more work, whatever, so that my parents helped me out a little bit too, so that I could get the book off the ground, because they knew that writing a book is very important. This book is 14 years in the making, Ayana.
Wow.
14 years. So I want people to understand, and not because you had the book there long and it's like, God, the book sitting down there too long, man, that it's not possible for it to happen. Yeah. It can happen. You just have to make the decision that you want to release it, and by any means, because my book was published December 6th, 2020, last year. And when we were home, I was like, oh my God, all these plans I have for this book to come out, what's going to happen now, boy? And I was like, you know what, Shan? Even if the book comes out December 31st, 2020, it's coming out.
Good.
Right? So it took about, from writing the book to it being published and available, like holding it in my hands, it took about 4.5, almost 5 months. Yeah.
Wow. I thank you very much for sharing so freely that process, so those who are listening have an idea of what that entails. So now I'm going to ask you to read an excerpt from the book.
Sure.
We want to hear about Kai.
All right. So let me see. I'm trying to pick a part of the book. All right. Okay. Soon her snack was finished, and all she had in her hand was the wrapper. The gummies were awesome while they lasted, so she didn't mind. Now it was time to throw the wrapper in the bin. But just as she dropped the wrapper into the bin, a sudden gust of wind blew and whipped the wrapper out of the bin and onto the ground. Oh no, Kai exclaimed. I have to put it back into the bin. You see, Kai was very careful not to litter. She ran after the wrapper after it went bouncing along the ground, and she tried to catch it. But every time she thought she had it, the wrapper slipped away from her fingers and blew away. This was a very strange wind. Then the wrapper went over the wall, out of the school, and onto the pavement outside. Kai couldn't believe her eyes. She looked around quickly to find something to reach it. Then she saw a long stick. This would help her get the wrapper back. Kai picked up the stick and tried to reach the wrapper. She tried to pull the wrapper back through the fence so she could put it in the bin. She tried and tried and tried, but it just didn't budge. What am I going to do? She thought. At home time, when her mother came to pick her up, Kai was very sad. She sat on a chair just outside her classroom with her head hung low. Mommy noticed that Kai was not her usual happy self. What's wrong, Kai? You look a little sad today. Is everything okay? Kai stopped walking and looked down at her shoes. She couldn't look at Mommy in the face. But Mommy knew Kai had tried her best, so she stooped down and gently turned Kai's face towards hers. It's okay, Kai. Don't be so sad, her mother explained. I know you tried your best, and that's all I ask of you. I'm glad that you tried to get it. When Kai fell asleep, she began to dream about what happened that day. Then she heard a voice say, hello. Suddenly, she was in the playground at school, but no one else was around. The only thing she saw was the wrapper. The wrapper was talking to her. Hi, I'm Wendy. Nice to meet you, the wrapper said. Kai was surprised, but she wasn't afraid. Hi, Wendy. I'm sorry I couldn't pick you up and put you back into the bin today. That's okay, Kai. I'm here to tell you that you put me in the right place. It was the wind that blew me onto the ground. I know you tried your best. But then Kai thought for a moment. She still didn't know where her garbage went after going into the bin. Maybe she can ask Wendy. Wendy, do you know where the garbage goes after we throw it into the bin? Of course I do, Wendy replied. Want to go for a ride? I can show you. Kai got excited. I'd love that. Then hop aboard. I have a few friends I want you to meet. Kai looked around, but she was a bit confused because she didn't see anything to hop onto. Then in the blink of an eye, Wendy transformed into a beautiful magic carpet, fancy gold edges, and bright, beautiful colors like pink and yellow and orange and green. Kai hopped onto Wendy, and away they went. They swished and they swayed and they dipped through the trees until Kai met their first stop. Let's go meet Melly the mango. Where are we, Wendy? Kai asked. But before Wendy could answer, Melly jumped in with a singing voice and said, well, hello there, Kai. You are at my home. Fruits and vegetables and leaves and branches come here to be made into something called compost. Compost? That word was strange to Kai. What's that? Compost is what you make when you put all the leftover peels and skins from your kitchen together with things like grass and leaves from your yard. When you leave it to mix for a while, it changes into something that can help your plants grow strong and healthy. Wow, Kai said, that's hard to do. No, it isn't really hard, but you have to ask your mommy and your daddy to help you. Time to go, Kai. Okay. Nice to meet you, Melly, Kai said as they waved goodbye. So that's just a little bit of the story. So in the book, the question gets answered where garbage goes. All garbage must go into the bin, but there are some things that shouldn't be in the bin. And things that can be composted is one of them. So that's just a little bit of the book, and I hope you guys go grab your copy so that you could continue to teach your children about how they should be managing their waste.
For that, Shan. Thanks so much for that animated reading. I was really caught up in it.
You're welcome. I always read my book that way.
Thanks so much. But where can we get your book? Where can we get it?
So, Kai's Magical Adventures is available in a few stores. It's available in all excellent stores. So that's C3, Movie Town, and Price Plaza. It's available at all RIK locations. It's also available in some smaller indie-based bookstores, so Scribbles and Quills in Chaguanas, the paper-based bookstore in Hotel Normandy, My Beach, My Water, which is in Couva, Academics Plus in QREP. If you're in Tobago, you can go to the Pages bookstore in Tobago and grab your copy there. It's also available on Amazon and through CaribbeanBaby.com. And of course, through me, the wonderful author of Kai's Magical Adventures. And we have a wonderful Christmas special going on right now, Ayana. So if people get the paperback versions, if you go to any of those stores I called, or if you're local, or you go to Amazon and you get the paperback version of the book, we will send you the audio book, which is valued at $21.99 US, absolutely free.
Wow.
Right? So we have this amazing special going on right now. So, but you have to get the paperback version though, not the ebook. Right? So you get the paperback version and we will send you the audiobook for free. So you can listen and hold the book and read.
Wow. That is fantastic. That is really fantastic. I think it would be good as well. I remember I used to play stories for my daughter, when we had long distances to go on to. So I think that actually could work as well. Wow,
Yes.
This is fantastic. I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to more stories from you, Sian, because just like what Djennicia is doing, you're doing it as well, where we are changing generations from certain ways of thinking, where it's not okay to just throw garbage out the car and just throw it. We really have to take care of our environment. So I'm looking
Yeah,
forward.
as the saying says, there is no planet B. We all on this wonderful planet called planet Earth. We have one planet to live on, and we have to do our part to take care of it. God did his part. We have to do ours.
Amen. Wow. Thanks so much for coming and sharing your book with us. We really do appreciate it. So everyone that is looking right now, please pick up a copy of this wonderful book for your children.
Support your local authors.
Yes, exactly. That's what it's about. Thanks so much, Sian. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye.
Wow. That was just so fantastic. The illustrations were really just so vivid and so bright. I mean, it and really and truly in terms of having illustrations that look like us. I think that's really fantastic. So welcome to all who are looking on at Anglo Lit Fest 2021. I am your host, Ayana James, and we have just been chatting with some authors about the books that they've written and, the time and effort that it has taken to write these books. It has just been so fabulous. And if you have any questions for our authors or any comments or anything you want to share, feel free to put it in the chat and we will share it with our authors. Good afternoon to Patricia Carbon Smith. She said affirmations are very important to young people and even to the older persons. Words have power and we all should be holding each other up. That is so true, Patricia. Thank you for that. And Megan Francis Carrington, she says that the books are beautiful and she'd love to have these books. So thank you very much, Megan, for that. So if you have, and I see Michelle Mitchell is looking on. Good evening. And thank you so much to all who are looking on this evening. So Kerry Kittson is one of our authors. She could not be here live with us to Anglo Lit Fest 2021, but we did an interview a while ago. It was pre-recorded. So at this time, we're going to take in Kerry Kittson. She has a young adult series. Kerry Kittson has a young adult series, and which is called Estrelle. And then she has a children's series called Sea Tales, right? So we're going to take in that interview right about now. Good afternoon to all and welcome to Anglo Lit Fest 2021, where we talk about books and we meet the authors who wrote them. So today, I am your host, Ayana James, and I want to welcome Kerry Kittson to Anglo Lit Fest 2021. She is from the parish of All Saints in Newtown, Port of Spain. By day, she is an attorney and a certified mediator, but she's also an author of a young adult series called Estrel, a 3-part series, as well as a children's series, 2 children's series called The Tree Tales and The Sea Tales. So, Keri, welcome to Anglo Lit Fest.
Thank you so very much, Ayana. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to come and share about my books. I really appreciate it.
Well, I have to say, I am really very pleased to be talking to Anglicans in our diocese who are writing. So this is an absolute pleasure for me. So, Keri, let's jump straight into your young adult series, Estrel, right?
Yeah.
Tell us, what was the inspiration for Estrel? I mean, you're an attorney and a certified mediator, but then you are doing a young adult series. So where did the inspiration come from?
Well, actually, I started writing Estrel when I started going to law school, or started the program for law school. So I'd have been in my first year of BA. I had already done a bachelor's in economics, and I had started the Harry Potter series late. I was actually like about 20 or so when I started reading Harry Potter. So my friend in college introduced me, and I was like, I like this genre. I like how they have it, because I'm like, at that time, we didn't have much young adult fiction, right? We didn't have much young adult fiction writers like J.K. Rowling. I grew up on Tamara Pierce, and I grew up on Nancy Drews and Hardy Boys. So I feel like I would just devour all of these books. And I was like, you know what? Let me just try something and see what I can do. When I was younger, I had wrote 1 or 2 articles for Newsday for their kids section. So it was something I kind of liked doing, and I just continued. And as I got into law school, and the stress of having to know cases and learn the law and all of that items, it was a wonderful medium for me to just relax and create my own world, where you can just build everything from the ground up. And that's what I did with Estrel. Estrel was a work of love, I have to admit. It took me a while, quite a while to finish, but I'm glad that I did, because sometimes they say you never know what you can do until you do it, and that's precisely it. I never knew I would be able to write a book until I did Estrel, and then from Estrel I just started doing others.
Yeah,
and I continued.
Well, I mean, talk to us about Estrel. Talk to us about the series. What it's about, and the motivation behind, the characters, the setting, etc.
All right. So at that time, I was heavily influenced by J.K. Rowling, as well as I liked Dune. So I was in a mixture of everything. But Estrel literally starts up about sisters, and it's about how sometimes in life we start off at a particular point, and then life just takes us into a different journey, different pathways, and we may diverge. But at the end of the day, even though you diverge, you always come back to the center. You're always there for each other. And Estrel is really supposed to be about those type of bonds, those familiar bonds, those bonds that even though family is more than blood, and just basically just having fun as well doing it. Now, I actually started to like my characters quite a bit. So,
Dahlia and Talia, yes? Dahlia and Talia, the sisters, yes.
Dahlia and Talia. And then I was like, okay, so I now have Dahlia and Talia. Now I have children with Dahlia and Talia. So I just expanded the characters and their storylines, because everybody's like, what happens next? Those who actually liked it, because I have a friend, and she loved Estrel. To the point where she keeps telling me, I almost got a ticket reading your book, And she would proceed to tell me, basically, she was at the stoplight, it was taking forever, she was in a lot of traffic, so she's like, she just started reading the book, so she just picked it up, and she was like, just a couple of pages, not realizing a couple of pages, to be more, until the police officer knocked on her window, and it's like,
oh my God.
you're holding up traffic, and she's like, I'm so sorry, and she keeps telling me this story, and I was just like, thank you. Of course, she's the same one that when I finished my last book, she was the first person I sent her to read, because I was like, I need your opinion, how does this? And she's like,
yes.
When's the next one? I'm like, I just finished this one.
The effects of good writing. Now,
So,
in the series Astral, well, the first one, it talks about mage, the mages. What is a mage?
well, again, as I said before, I was with Harry Potter.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
influenced by Harry Potter at this point in time. A mage is somebody who the how to describe it? The normal realm of I don't understand is that magic and stuff like that. But a mage is could be somebody who basically just has a special gift and talent that they can use. Simple as that. And I think that and we in the Christian and also just all the religions, we have had persons who've had special abilities and special I would say ideas, but they
Spiritual
have
gifts and
been
talents.
yeah, talents. We all have different gifts and talents and we can use it. Well, if you call us mages, if you call us whatever, but this is essentially what it's about. And it's how we use it and in service of others and in service of the God that we serve. And I just wanted to bring in those particular themes as well because at the end of the day, it's when you write, it's something more than you, and it's something that you want to bring across a message that essentially good versus evil, and you would like good to always to win out, and therefore it's also about the process because not everything is cut and dry and everything is black and white, and you have to realize that at the end, through it all, you just have to have faith. You just have to have faith. And
Yeah,
Ashra started, yeah, and Ashra was a journey in faith.
wow, that's really awesome. On the screen here, I mean, this is the cover for the first book, right? The first book, Astral. I mean, when you saw this, Kerry, a novel by Kerry A. Kitson, how did that feel?
I was like, oh my goodness. I was smelling the pages. I was just like smelling the book. I was like, oh my goodness. And I was smiling from ear to ear. It was like a quiet sense of joy that this is something, it's as if you're building a child. I've never had the experience of having a child as yet, but literally it feels like that because you've invested so much time and energy and effort into creating this and bringing it to fruition. And when you actually see it come to fruition and it's a book in its own, you're like, oh my goodness. It's a rewarding feeling. It's like,
Wow.
thank you, God. Thank you.
Amen. So, Kerry, what I want you to do at this point in time is to do a reading first, right? Read a part of the book. Are you reading from Astral, the first one, the first book, or?
I will read from Astral, the first book.
Right.
So I'm actually going to read, as I said before, it's a book about, in many respects, about family and relationships. So I'm going to read, it's page 308, which is chapter 17. So I just give you a little sneak preview. A common goal. A day later, the Vargadome. There were times when being the overlord was not all that it was cracked up to be. He had managed to create an empire in the time he had been elected Mage King. He is the ultimate ruler of the mage population. Yet dealing with that odious little mage known as the Protector wore on his nerves. The Protector had sent him a memo concerning the inclusion of a special item in the ceremony tomorrow night. It involved a spell that promised to be very special to their world. It was a mere courtesy on the Protector's part. They had merely sent a response duly noting the inclusion. His sons had turned 21 a day ago, and he had to face the fact that he had not been much of a father. Aral had opted to go stay by his maternal grandfather's home in the Maori Dome. He still hadn't been able to locate his other son after all these years. He suspected that Talia had taken his son to the refugee camp that is rumored to exist. No one in his employ had ever been able to discover its existence. Yet, those who had disappeared over the years must have gone somewhere. They certainly were not within any of the domes. He had found himself conversing with Delia in times like these. Sometimes, it was as if she was just on the periphery of his world. He had many regrets in his life, amongst which he could count the times that they had lost together. She had been a truly wonderful person, and he had been too busy maneuvering court politics and chasing the phantom. He had tried after the death of Delia's father to be a better father to Aral. He had made sure that Aral never wanted for anything. What he could not give him in terms of his time, he compensated for in material terms. If he was honest, at times he had been a bit jealous of the close relationship that the viceroy had with his son. However, it had begun to bother his conscience more of late. Perhaps it wasn't too late to try. After all, the Phantom had been limiting the number of his attacks over the last few months. If he left now, he could spend some time with Arrow. The Empire could survive a few days without him. Thus, having made up his mind, he issued a missive to the Viceroy, telling him that he was in charge for a few days. As he tidied up loose ends before he headed to Marari, he felt considerably lighter than he had in years. He felt Dahlia's presence with him, as if she too was pleased that he had finally taken up the gauntlet to salvage a relationship with his son.
Wow, that was really lovely. And one of the things that I appreciate from what I read reading part of the first book, Estrel, is how vivid your writing is, Kerry. Like in the first chapter, there was a fight scene. I don't want to give away too much, right? But there was a fight scene between the main character, Talia, and someone else. And I felt like I was in the fight, like I was watching the fight because of how vivid your descriptions. I mean, it was really good. And I like Talia. Talia seems to be like she's very loyal, and she's like a no nonsense, I know what I want and I'm going after it kind of character. So I really, really like Talia as well. So this is awesome. Really, really awesome. And I'm so glad, and I'm glad to know that we have books like this available for young people right here in Trinidad. I mean, I love J.K. Rowling too. I have my Harry Potter series as well. But we have our own writers here. So kudos to you, Kerry. Kudos to you.
Thank you. But we have a lot of writers in Caribbean as well, because I'm like, when I wrote this book, I didn't realize there's something called magical realism, and this is what I was actually writing. So,
yeah. I did magical realism at university as well. Yeah. But we have it right here in Trinidad, and Kerry Kittson, you're the author. So hats off to you. Now, Kerry, you not only wrote a young adult series, but you also had some more inspiration to write a children's series, two actually, the Tree Tales and the Sea Tales. So talk to us about that.
I'll talk to you about the Sea Tales actually, because that's the second one in the children's series.
Sure.
I had already finished the Tree Tales about 4 or 5 years before, and I really didn't think it was so soon. I was just like, I found it was just something else. I did like a fluff piece. But these Sea Tales, I kept telling myself I had to finish it because I wanted to actually do a whole series in it, like 3 books in this particular series. And I went on to, I kid you not, I went to the sea because this was before, when I started writing, I had not started open water swimming. So I had gone to the beach on New Year's Day, and I went into the water, and I was like, God, I promised I would finish this book. And it's like, literally, I kid you not, about 2 days later, somebody walks into my house to talk about planning a Easter event in our neighborhood, and he's an illustrator. And my husband brought him in, and they were like, talking about the posters and the signs and stuff like that. And then I sat down to talk to him afterwards, and he's like, he always wanted to illustrate a book. And I'm thinking to myself, I just asked daughter about 2 days before he water. And he's like, and it's a young guy. His name is Isaiah Lindsay. He's the one that does this illustration. He is amazing. He was going to school in Florida at the time, and he had just come home for vacation to see his mom, who's a neighbor. And he was like, we sat down and talked, and how he would like to do it, and it's something as this person I'm collaborating and to this extent with somebody, and he was just like, just tell me a sample. Let me just read it and whatever. Just like, let me just finish it. And I sat down and I wrote, and this book just came from somewhere else.
Yes.
And it just flowed, and it just came together, and I had something ready for him to read in the space of a couple of days. And then I sent it to him, and then he's like, "Oh, okay, I see this." And I'm like, "I see it like this."
Yeah.
It was so much fun collaborating with him, and he did a really wonderful job. He did like about 4 illustrations for the book. He did the cover and 3 others inside. Actually, no, 4 others inside. And he is an amazing artist because to take from the writings and actually put it into a picture that persons can relate to. This is from the second chapter, and as you can all see, it's about jellyfish. And
Yeah.
he literally just made this, and it's so gorgeous because it's like, it's because it was I was just read about Little Spig because I have this penchant for Little Spig. I love Little Tobago. I love Tobago on the whole because my
Yes.
grandfather was from Tobago, but Little Tobago is something that has a special place in my heart. And Isaiah just brought it to life, and I was just like, thank you so much.
Yes, really, really beautiful illustrations. And when I listened to the audiobook of the sea tales, I mean, first of all, I love the sound of the sea while I was listening to the story, right? And I love when the story ended, there was a little bit of pan at the end. I was like, listen, this reminds me of, I don't know if I'll be showing off my age, but they used to have stories on the radio for children. They used to have musical stories. That reminded me of that. I was like, this was so beautiful. It was beautiful. I love it's a local voice. It's just 100% local, Kerry. 100% local. Absolutely love it. And there was an environmental theme where it spoke about the plastic with the turtles as well. I was like, this fantastic stuff. Fantastic.
I just like to say something. You see the pan and all the other background music and items to that book. That is courtesy of Nigel Scott because he's like, he was he's the narrator for the audiobook for the details. As my first audiobooks, I had so much fun actually getting to do this. I told you that the details was probably you should when you have favorites, you're like, about favorite children. It was one of my favorites.
I hope we don't have favorite children, right, Kerry?
So, but like Nigel went and he did because I went with them to do the vocals. And then he's like, I thought it'll be fine just doing the street vocals and that's it. That's the audiobook. He's like, no, you know what you have to do? You should get some music, get some background, get some stuff.
And
he was like, and I was like, all right. And then like I heard it and I was like, it was so gorgeous. I was like, okay, Nigel, yes, you're right. And I'm glad that I was able to listen to him and that he's able to do it because he passed away he did it in July. He passed away by October, November. So I was so grateful because something tells you when it's to do something, to do something.
Yeah, to do something. Yeah.
That was one of those moments.
Wow.
But it was also the details. It's probably one of my favorite children.
Awesome. You have anything that you want to share from the children's series with us?
Sure. Can I read? Do I read before I do a reading or just general?
Yeah, the reading. Yes, the reading first from the children's series.
All right. So the details. I'm going to read from Unusual Friends, and it's the last chapter in the book. So, once upon a time, there was a sudden stingray named Sayo, who lived in the sun-kissed coastal waters surrounding a small island known as Little Tobago. It was a tiny island situated near the edge of the Caribbean Sea. What made this place ideal for any stingray were its many bays with golden sands and calm, balmy waters. In short, it was a stingray's paradise. Although stingrays had diamond-shaped backs, which were often dark or dark brown, and long tails to defend themselves, they loved to play in the sand at the bottom of the seabed. Sai loved to bury himself in the sand and sleep for hours on end, as the sun shone through, making the world around him appear to be a crystal ball. He also loved to swim to the surface, jump into the air, then dive down to the bottom. When he did this, he would normally surprise anyone who was on the surface. Life was good, and he was quite happy, until the day the turtles returned with a companion in tow. At first, he just observed them as they guarded in a group, and then in groups of twos and threes to go ashore. After a few hours, that group returned from shore, and another batch would follow the same pattern. Having seen this before, scientists soon realized that the turtles were following their migratory instincts and returning home to nest. However, this time, they brought along a little fish that seemed a bit odd. He smelled the venom on this little fish a mile away. It was venom from the Portuguese man of war. In Sayo's mind, in less than a minute, this moved the little fish from the potential lunch menu to the toxic materials menu. Sayo vowed to give it as wide a berth as possible and hoped that the turtles would take it away when they left. He had ventured about enough to recognize that dangerous creatures often came in small packages.
Wow. Fantastic. This is fantastic. Really, really fantastic. So I hope that those who are looking on after hearing Keri read from her young adult series and her children's series, that you are just chomping at the bit to get your hands on these books. So Keri, just to wrap up the interview, where can we get your books?
Right, so my books are available on Amazon.com as well as Apple Books, as well as Scrim, if you're interested in the audiobook. I normally sell my books, the hard copies, through Metropolitan Bookstore, which is now located on Target Road. I have to restock a couple of my books on the bookstore, but my books are available online. So, and you can also check out the website. So if you get a chance, just go, kerrykitson.co.
What's your website?
kerrykitson.co.
All right. So thank you so much, Keri, for sharing your creations. You know, you call them your children. It really was fabulous just getting to know you and hearing about these books. I really want to wish you all the best in your writings. And do you have any more books, any more inspirations coming up?
I would like to finish my third children's book, which is called The Wind Tales. I was hoping to finish it by December this year. Not sure if it's going to be possible, but I'm going to try. If it is, then I'm going to release it before Christmas.
All right, beautiful. And I'm sure that you have the support of the diocese behind you. So it will be the Tree Tales, the Sea Tales, and the Wind Tales. Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so very much, Keri, for joining us at Anglo Lit Fest 2021. You're so welcome. So we just listened to the pre-recorded interview with Kerry Kittson, and I really hope that hearing her reading of the book, it really spark some curiosity or some interest in the books, and you'll go out and you'll purchase it. Again, I think those books will make really, really great gifts for family members and friends. All right, so Anglo Lit Fest continues. Is Tristan with us right now? Or are we going on to Kyle? I'm not sure.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It will be me because just have to let him know that because in the middle of his son's birthday party. So I will just let him know, he'll come after me. All right, so premature, but here we go.
Right, well, let me introduce you now.
All right, I apologize. You want me to leave? You want me to leave and come back?
No, you're good. So, of course, as a diocese, whenever we're thinking about anything ICT, we know it's Kyle Grant, right? But today, Kyle is an author. Kyle Difference Maker Grant is an author, right? He is the editor-in-chief of the We Digital Lifestyle magazine. He's the creator of the Bird's Eye comic strip. He's a columnist in the Anglican Outlook newspaper. So welcome, Kyle Difference Maker Grant, to Anglo Lit Fest.
Thank you very much. Great introduction, man.
Yeah. So Kyle, you are Kyle Difference Maker Grant. So how does being a difference maker inform what you're doing with regards to the We Digital Lifestyle magazine?
Well, first off, being a difference maker, Kyle Grant is the name given to me. Difference maker is the name I gave to myself. The reason I put that in my name is because every day I wanted to, I think Djennicia mentioned daily affirmations. I wanted something that I'll speak every single day to know that I have to make a difference, not only in my life, but in the life of others. So that's why I chose the name Difference Maker. And it sounds good too. So 2 reasons.
Yeah. All right. So you said that in reading the write up at the beginning of the magazine that you wanted to focus on the West Indies, right? With this magazine, where did the idea, for this come up to focus on all things West Indian?
Yeah, 2 reasons. One, as a writer, I was looking for a home, and I was having trouble finding a home, a magazine or publication that will, publish my work. And what I learned to do as a group older is that if you can't find an opportunity, create it yourself or create a lane yourself. So when I was doing the brainstorming, I realized a lot of my content was something that I loved, which is the West Indies. I love West Indian culture. It's our own. So I was in between actually centering it around Trinidad and Tobago or the West Indies. But because I have intentions of traveling a bit and especially exploring the Caribbean, I decided, all right, let's go kill the birds with one stone and let's focus on Caribbean culture. And so when we embark on a journey, we could not only experience it for myself, but also allow others to come into the Caribbean. That would be people who are from the Caribbean and people outside the Caribbean as well. Give them a little taste, Yeah, we said the Caribbean, just a little thing.
Yeah. I have to say, the pictures and so forth are very, very vivid on this magazine. So how you gonna start a magazine, boy? What's the process for that?
Well, similar to I think Sian is it took a couple of years. Because as I said, I was doing a lot of exploring on my own, traveling around, learning my country, and I've not, again because of COVID, I guess, I have not been able to hop on a plane and explore the West Indies. So this is the closest I can get to it for now until things really open back up and COVID is more manageable. But starting a magazine is you're basically journaling either your life or the life of others through your lens. Well, in this case, it's both lens because it's heavily illustrative. Because we as West Indian people are visual people, so we like a lot of pictures. So along with the writing that complements the pictures, that's what the first thing you need when in a magazine, as I was explaining there, with that long-winded answer is content. You need content. You need to be sometimes niche or target a specific audience so that people not magazine not all over the place. So that's why we stick to West Indian culture. We venture outside, but it always ties back to Caribbean culture. So that's the first thing, content, and then you need, as Sian said when she was explaining, you don't do everything yourself. You definitely need a team. You need people who do layout. In this case, layout was done by another Anglican who attends my church, Afia Lamont. And she was from, even since we were working together in the youth ministry in St. Andrew, she always had this talent. And what my gift is bringing people together, or different people of different personalities, backgrounds, and skill sets together. So we're able to collaborate and produce what you are seeing here. And that's it. That's all you need. Those are the resources you need. Of course, a little bit of capital. Most things you can't start without. So it will be content, your team, and resources, including capital.
I mean, I as I said, you had a wide variety. You have recipes, I saw something on swimwear and so forth, and art. How did you make links with the people who were featured in the magazine? What was that process of networking?
I say that's my God-given talent. So I have a huge network. So that's why sometimes people will be doing a project. They will call, if someone is starting a business, they may most likely call me and ask me, Kyle, I'm going to start a business. You know this person, or I don't know. So people call me for a variety of problems, not only just fixing computers, but making linkages. So I always hear people say, you know people. You know, I don't know where that comes from, but they're right. You know, I don't know how they know I know people, but they put it together. So when they're starting a project, they give me a call for solution and make connections to make it happen. It is such a, I think that as an entrepreneur, there's an expectation from people. And yeah, so putting a magazine is just one product that can come up when you have such an extensive network.
Yeah, because it was a wide span. I mean, I saw Nevis, I saw Jamaica, and that kind of thing. So, I mean, your network is quite huge.
It is.
You wrote the articles. You wrote the articles.
I wrote some of them. Yeah. So we need. Yeah. Again, on my team, there were there were a couple of other writers, like Sophia Richards from Toronto, originally from Trinidad. There was Latoya. Well, she's married now, so forgive me, Latoya. I can't remember your married name, but Latoya Patrick from Jamaica. I met her in Provincial Youth Garden. There was from Ghana. Well, she's coming out in the next edition. Dr. Sonia Noel. I just, because I was managing talent in the entertainment business, I was also a party promoter for Siam nightclub a couple of years ago. But no matter which one of where I went, whether it's school, university, secondary school, I always left there with a huge contact list.
Right.
So I never lost contact or burned bridges with people who I would connect with. So I might call somebody from 10 years, 10 years ago who I met in like a community, those community pop-up shops that happens. I might call you like, Kyle Grant, hey boy, say you forget me. Yeah, well, I have something now that we could use your talents for. So I try not to forget people and the talent they're associated with. So also this is Vaughan Anstem. You may remember him from the virtual international exhibition for worship. So we made a connection in one meeting. That was a fashion show in Hotel Normandy. So I never lost contact with him. And that's why we work on a couple of projects. Djennicia Francis was just here. She's actually winner of the magazine. I wanted to bring the pages to life, so we had something called Virtual Sugar and Energy Festival, a festival that we had here in my hometown, Couva, every single year, but there wasn't one in 9 years. So because it's the pandemic offers an opportunity for people in the digital arena like myself. I'm an IT specialist, so I revived with not by myself, with a team: Kevin Bislal, Carissa Bislal. I'm a full team: Daniela Walcott, Nikita Samlal, Sean Paul, and Samantha Rampasad, and then the guys, Christian Wright and Ananias. What's Ananias' last name? Ananias Wilson. Right, so do is an extensive team, and I got the approval from Chairman Henry Awong from Couva Regional Complex and the president of the Couva Point East Chamber of Commerce, and we all collaborated to make Virtual Sugar and Energy happen, and it brought the pages of We Magazine to life. So the magazine, it was basically animated through that festival. Yeah, so and that's only the beginning. As Sugar and Energy was just a taste of everyone. Djennicia Francis, who was the author who came on earlier, was actually winner of the pageant. So she's the Sugar and Energy Queen for 2021. Yeah, that's where we are now. With it, we also had a virtual tour of the Wildfowl Trust. Right, and what's Caribbean content without food? That's what Caribbean is known for, or flavor. So yeah, so we have so much more.
Yeah.
We have Gian Thompson, who was macaroni pie. She said her experience in England. People always asking her how to make macaroni pie, and she said, you know what, I'm just gonna create a recipe, and that recipe is in this magazine as well. So we could go on Jada Romeo, who you see on your screen now. We actually met on social media, Facebook, and from there we have a friendship that spans about 3 to 4 years now, and we're now starting to use talent. So it is so much. Yeah, well, Claudia Clark saying that she watching from Jamaica, so that would be just mention a Jamaican, Latoya Patrick. The model of the for the next edition is from Jamaica. But I could go on and on. This is vast. That's the lovely thing about Caribbean culture, is vast. So and I have a rich pool to pick from and to highlight. So I can't wait to dive deeper into it and yeah, magazine.
I really see the value in this, Kyle, because I mean, as Caribbean islands, you know, we may tend to focus on our own island and what our island offers, but this magazine is sort of like uniting, you know, all of us in this one little place, you know, and we getting to know about each other and that kind of thing. So I really love the idea of this magazine. What's your favorite part of you know, working on this magazine, Kyle?
The end result. Yeah, and I remember asking in the interview, Kerry, you asked how it felt to see a book published. You could even hear it from all the authors after Sharon, after what she said, 15 years in the making.
14 years.
14 years. Yeah, the final, when it's finally out, you seen it and you get the feedback. This is so good, this is so professional, and I say, well, all I expected is you all this good, and it didn't go on like it had a little bit. You can't say you want to highlight West Indian culture and it's substandard. But I love the end result because it took a lot of resourcefulness and thought to get it done. So it's fantastic, and to see a number of authors said it. Everything I do is legacy oriented. So I always think about the generation after. So it's not mine. You'll hear Sharon said that is, you know, it's my daughter's book, my son's book. He had to get one now because he's seeing it. So in the same way, I don't have children as yet, but I would love them to give them, you know, opportunities. So they don't have to start scratch something like from scratch like daddy. You know, you could there's an option for you. Do you want this? There's a magazine. Do you want to carry this one? And that's all, just creating an opportunity for that. But not only the generation within my family, but also the generations within you know, diaspora, that is the West Indies, because this is us, this is we. So I love, that's my favorite thing, bringing everything together, doing what I love. I think that's it. If I had to summarize it, doing what I love is what I love most about this magazine.
Yeah, I like that. And you know, what I really hope for this magazine, Kyle, is to really break down those kind of stereotypes, you know, where they call us tricky daddians, and then we have, you know, issues with other Caribbean islands. One of the things that when we see all our culture together in one place, that, you know, we forget about those stereotypical behaviors that you know, we identify in each other, you know. What has the response been so far to we?
It's been fantastic. I mean, I like how someone told me that, hey, this magazine reached France and over. Yeah, they love it. The French love it. I say, oh, all right. So I see the potential to tap into different markets across the world. The good thing about your first one, you're kind of testing waters to see how far you're gonna reach. There's content from someone from Australia, originally from Algeria. So technically, the magazine has touched or has incorporated every single continent minus Antarctica. If I find a writer from Antarctica today, yeah, just the boast, yeah, you know, the magazine just touch every continent in the world, it's global, and that's true. That the rich culture of the West Indies makes it easy because our culture is global. So it makes it easier. It's not easy, but it makes it easier to you just package in bits and pieces of it, and it puts it out in the pages of the magazine.
Nice. Sean gave us some really solid advice in terms of, you know, when you're publishing a book, you know, what to look for, questions to ask. You have any kind of advice for anybody that may want to start a magazine?
You see, everyone's experience will be different. I think that you should, if you, and I guess this doesn't only apply to creating a magazine, but it's how I think Nicholas Macmillan said it in his interview for Anglo Film Festival. So you should check that out on the Anaconda Outlook YouTube channel. It's how bad you want it, and as this is a Christian platform, so as Christians, this is going after your goals is one way of showing or exercising your faith in God. You see, stopping short or giving up, that's not for Christian people. We have to be setting the example. Yes, you're going to have bad times. You might take a little break, but get back on it. And that's one thing I learned in creating a magazine. Even the second edition is a challenge, but I had to keep at it. So in anything, magazine or just in life in general, once you set your mind to something, use your resources, use this. You see this? Let this drive you, but let this direct you. All right, and you need to think. And I know that's a challenge because sometimes you have external factors coming in, where you're from, how much money you have, even your parents or your family may be saying things that are negative. Why are you doing that for? We don't think that's what we do. One do, But one thing I learned is sometimes they're telling you that not because they're negative or not to be negative, but they love you and they want the best for you, but they're not understanding that this is it. So one of our favorite moments with the magazine was handing my father the phone because he's old school, so he's public service, one thing, permanent job thing, government this, ministry thing, look at job here in the papers, what are you doing? And what I loved is when I showed him, I say, hey, this yours, well, it's ours. And and he stopped, and that's when because he couldn't because the idea in my head. So although I seen the potential of the idea, he can't see it because he gave me the opportunity, education and all that, made the sacrifices of a father. But I grew up in a different era from him. So my thinking is a lot more, I'm a more free thinker, liberal in my thoughts. And he's a certain he has a rigid way of thinking.
Yeah.
But by showing him on the phone, and he was speechless. And you see, when my father's speechless, oh gosh, yeah, that's it. You have him, So that was, I think that when doing anything in life, including a magazine, you will have little external factors like that affecting you that become challenging. But it's up to you to overcome those challenges. That's it.
That is fantastic advice. And I think what you said there, all the other authors would have at some point in time mentioned, making sure that, you achieve your goal and you work at it, which is very, very important.
Definitely.
Kyle, any idea when the next edition is coming out?
Yeah, we one of the challenges I have as a writer is meeting deadlines. That's because bulk of other responsibilities, and as an editor, it's even worse. So we're trying to speed, kind of streamline, or I don't want to say the word rush because the quality had to maintain a standard, right?
Yeah.
So as we say, we're gonna try to rush to get a pre-Christmas edition out. That one, listen. Well, I thought the first one was good. This one, sometimes when I know you're a movie person as well as book person, when sometimes they bring out a sequel, the sequel disappointed. Well, why they interfere with the original four, man? Just leave it like that. But this one, I promise you, the second is going to blow you away if you love the first. And that's it.
Right. So where we gonna get it, Kyle? Where we gonna get this?
You're gonna get one in probably late December or early January 2022. But you're going to get this one before Christmas, the second edition. And then we're going right after that one, we're going in. No time to pop champagne. We're going straight into getting a Christmas / New Year's edition in time for the West Indian faithful.
Nice. So we have to go to a site to get the magazine. How can we get the magazine?
Oh yeah, so yeah, we are building a website now, but you can go you can access it on social media. We Lifestyle Magazine, that's WI Lifestyle Magazine. on Facebook or Instagram. That's the best way to. And YouTube channel we just launched that last week. Yeah, so you could go to We Lifestyle Magazine on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. Yeah. We're moving quick. Look, I'm the editor and I could barely keep up. I could barely keep up. So much less for the fans.
Listen, this is so fantastic. So
It is.
IT guy and
It is.
magazine editor-in-chief. Wow, this is fantastic stuff, guys. So we're looking forward. I mean, you're hyping up. You're hyping up to the magazine. Right, so I'm looking forward to the magazine and looking forward to just seeing our West Indian culture just, in such live and vivid colors. So I really want to wish you and your team all the best. Looking forward to a lot more and seeing the positive effects of this magazine.
Definitely.
So thanks so much, Kyle.
I have one thing. You remember Bird's Eye? I just want to share Bird's Eye real quick.
Sure.
Right? So Bird's Eye, we talked about the vision. We spoke about racial divide. We talk about different Caribbean countries. Also, trying to unite it. There's one other thing, and you hear it in our national anthem all the time, where every creed and race finds an equal place. Bird's Eye, and according to our strategic plan in the Anglican Church, we are supposed to have we call it interreligious unity. We're supposed to pursue that in certain aspects. So I'm just going to share real quick what Bird's Eye is about. It's still in its conceptual stage, but this is just a mock-up to show you what's in the thought process of it. All right, so see that? You know it pops up. You take less than 4 minutes. See, I had it like idle so long that it lost its reconnection. All right, so not even going to full screen. So this is so the comic strip. What happened, Diana, right, is that comics tend to bring us back to our childhood. We tend to drop our guard. There's something some elder told me that you never speak about two things. One is politics and religion. People tend to be emotional and they don't really have a rational discussion or civilized discussion. It tends to spiral into an argument. But Bird's Eye is seeking to break down that that stiff way of thinking and open up people to things. So the first slide says is an ostrich imagining a duck, saying, "I wish I could swim like duck." The second slide or panel says, "I wish that I can fly like eagle." The ostrich thinking the same thing. The last one, "I wish that I can build like cornbird." So the ostrich is envious of all the other birds, right? And the last thing is the ostrich, the other birds now are admiring ostrich because they say, "Wow, ostrich runs with so much speed and grace." So while ostrich is being envious of the other birds, they admire, and that's two different things. To admire and to envy are two completely different things. And all religions teach that same thing, how toxic envy and jealousy is. So Bird's Eye now ties in the religious teachings by, just like Aesop fable or Anansi stories, there's a moral at the end. So at the end, you'll see what's on your screen now is what the Bible says about envy, what the Quran, what the Muslim or Muslim brothers and sisters use, what the Quran says about envy, and the last one is what the Bhagavad Gita says about envy as well. So that's Hindu, Christianity, Judaism, Islam in one, captured in one comic strip. The thing is to sometimes when we try to unite people, sometimes we have to just put aside our differences, just put it aside for a second and just remember what we have in common first. That's all. Just focus on what we have in common first, and then we could do what one of our watchwords says: discipline, tolerance, production. It's only when we can understand people, we can tolerate them and live and coexist in society. And that's it. That's the concept of Bird's Eye. Look out for that early 2022. Thanks for that, Ayana.
I really like that, Kyle. I really, really like that. I like that, it really shows that, this kind of religious divide that we have. We learn the same thing, We learn the same thing. And like Megan says in the chat, we need to be taught how to discuss topics like religion and politics in a civil manner. That's true, respecting other people's views as well. But you know, this religious divide, we learn the same thing.
Definitely,
you know,
definitely.
I really like that, Kyle. That's really, really nice. And you know, it's like what Djennicia is doing with her book and what Sian is doing with her book. You know, we reach in this generation, you know, where we're trying to change ways of thinking and behaviors, you know, so that, you know, the silliness that we do, you know, hopefully this new generation here, they wouldn't engage in. So I'm looking forward to seeing some more of that. And I hope that can filter into our Sunday schools and so forth. You know, I think that would be really, really good. Good stuff. Awesome stuff. Way boy, Kyle.
Yeah.
Multi-talented guy.
Real things happening. And that's through the grace of God. Can't do it by myself, man.
Amen.
Some nice gifts, man. I'll ask for nothing less or more.
Yeah, boy. Awesome. So, Kyle, who we having next? We having Wispé or we having
to be safe, we'll have Wispé. So while her pre-recorded interview is going on, I could touch base with Tristan and make sure that he's on before we leap into that. Make sense?
Yeah, cool.
All right. So I'll leave it to the intro and I'll load up the video.
All right. Well, Wispé Decoteau could not be here with us for Anglo Lit Fest, so we did a pre-recorded interview, and she created some resource material for us as a diocese for Lent and Advent. So you could take in the interview now with Wispé Decoteau. Our next author at Anglo Lit Fest 2021 is none other than Wispé Decoteau, or as the diocese of Our next author at Anglo Lit Fest 2021 is none other than Wispé Decoteau, or as the diocese affectionately calls her, Auntie P. Wispé is from the parish of St. Thomas in Chabonas, and she's also a primary school teacher. So Wispé, welcome to Anglo Lit Fest 2021.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Great. So you have written a Lenten booklet for the youngsters in our diocese. So talk to us about the process, the inspiration for writing a Lenten booklet for them.
Okay, so the process of writing the Lenten booklet is a curious one. What took place was I was planning for school as usual, and it was just a thought. It was just a thought. I was thinking about it since January, and then lo and behold, Lent was coming swiftly along, and I think it was around the end of February, and I'm doing lessons plans one night, and then I said, I said I was gonna do a Lenten booklet. I'll do that tomorrow, and then tomorrow came, and then I said, you know what, I'll do tomorrow again, and then that night, I don't know how to describe the feeling, but my whole chest felt tight. And I just sat there and I said, you know what, let me just sit down and do this booklet. And I wrote out like 2 weeks. But the plan was to just have a general idea. These ideas started off as young ones at the church. So that age group between 5 and 12, they had to have something to do, and they really just needed something to do for Lent. Because to me, looking at that age group, they just have the idea that Lent is we're gonna fast and it's before Easter, full stop. So the idea behind it was to give them something to do for each day of Lent. So the book surrounded having a craft, a write-up, a Bible story. So each week was a Bible story, a craft, something to color, a song. Some of them have what else was there, boy? Or something to eat, a recipe. So I was big on snacks. So I needed them to have some sort of recipe to do, and everything just tied back to Lent and working out length. Yeah.
What I like about the book is that, I mean, even me as an adult, when I looked at it, I was like, these are things that I can also do as well. So families, I believe, can engage in the in that booklet. So I think it was really well written, and very easy to follow. You know, the craft, I like there was the stained glass cross that I saw, and I was like, that looks really interesting. And I mean, you had the children with fish dishes and all kind of things. So that was really cool. How I know you said, you know, your chest was hurting and you're planning it out fast, but in terms of start to finish and getting it proofread and so forth, how long did that take?
I think the only thing that was quick was the first 2 weeks. After that, it was tiresome. It took about a month. So it took about a month to complete the entire booklet, and I think I finished proofreading, editing, sending it out to the various churches, sending it out to various persons who needed to check on it. I think we finished just before Lent starts. Like literally just before Lent started. One of the things, as I just saw it there, one of the most important things I wanted for young persons to note was the pillars of the Anglican Church. And what I liked about, at least for Lent, what I liked about doing the booklet is I learned something every time I did an assignment for it or a day, I learned something. So like I didn't know there were quote unquote, I'm not sure if this is the correct term, but quote unquote, a pillar of Lent. So pray, fast, give. Those are the three pillars, and throughout the entire booklet, that is surrounding what we want to talk about during the booklet. So everything was about prayer, something about fasting, and something about how to give. Especially the give part. So they had almsgiving days where they were supposed to have a basket or a box that they put things, depending on what day it is, in that almsgiving box. So one of the days they were supposed to give, what was that, grain. Another day they're supposed to give 2 tins. Another day they're supposed to give like bread or peanut butter or something. So everything surrounded pray, give, fast, and put in for little ones.
That is really good. This one is my favorite actually. Is the labyrinth. I tried the labyrinth at the cathedral, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna walk around in a circle. What effect is that gonna have? And I had to say I had an experience. So when I saw this, I was like, I didn't even think that a labyrinth could have been, you could have used your finger to go through the labyrinth as well to pray. So I really, really liked that as well. What has the response been since you did the booklet? What has the feedback been?
So the feedback has been overwhelming because everyone who read the book or used the book, whether it's an adult, because as you rightly said, I had adults using the book, printing the book, wanting the book. They experienced something different that I did not even think was the intention. So you said the labyrinth, and I'm like, okay, that's the first time somebody came at me that the labyrinth was so special to them. And I would have persons coming to me saying that they would have never thought to present Lent in such a way. And I think that response is what pushed me to say, okay, I did okay. Because I was really worried, because I'm like, who is Auntie Pay to write this book? Who is Auntie Pay to even do this? And the response was overwhelming, and I was like, okay, I could do this kind of way.
Glad to hear the feedback was positive, and therefore you pour your energy into an Advent booklet.
Booklet, yeah. So for the Advent booklets.
So how was that process? Was it the same as the Lenten booklet?
The Advent booklet surprisingly was a little bit difficult than the booklets for the Advent booklet is a little more challenging because of how it's not a day by day. It's more week by week. All right. So what I did is I ensured that things went week by week rather than day by day for Advent. There's some new things that I introduced in the Advent booklet that the Lenten booklet did not have. So it follows more camp vibe than a Lenten day by day daily bread vibe that the Lenten booklet had. So it was more camp week by week. So they have a body. So they have a local body that they will meet. So they have local animals that pertain to hope, love, peace, and joy. So they have local animals to learn about. I went and visited some of the local animals that are in the book. So they get to see me with the animals. Again, food. I really do love including the snack for the kids to do. So snacks, food, but again, it's Christmas time as well. So I would have tried to do more Christmassy, traditional, local Christmas items for them, all tying it right back to the central theme of what is Advent.
And I think what I saw with the Lenten booklet, it didn't put dates. So we could use that booklet any year.
Anytime.
Right? So it could just be shared and shared and shared. And the wonderful price is that it's free. Yes. Right? So you gave us, the diocese, 2 wonderful resources just like that, Wispé. I mean, thank you so much. Thank you for that. Because I can't imagine it being an easy process. Right? It can't be. So
but it is fun. It may not be easy, but it is fun. And again, as I'm going along, I'm also learning about my faith and what I believe, and being in part of the diocese for so long, since birth, really. It amazes me how every year you learn something different. Exactly. So this would not be my first Advent. And God's willing, it's not my last Advent, and I'm sure the things that I learned last year, I mean, I learned something new this year, and I'm expecting to learn something new again next year, So it's just a continuous process to discovering faith, and I wanted to really give young people and little children that opportunity to discover their faith.
Fantastic. So what else is in the pipeline? What other writings are you thinking about now?
Well, I am not necessarily thinking about writing anything else. It goes with the seasons. So I know I was talking and I'm trying not to laugh because I just had this conversation 2 days ago. And the person was telling me, well, if you're going with the seasons, then do one for Epiphany or do one for, and I'm like, that's not how it works, you know? But as it goes, I really do love youth ministry. So I'm not giving up on, not necessarily youth ministry, but more children's ministry. I'm not giving up on children's ministry. So I do plan, God's willing, next year to have another camp. Whether how that looks all depends on how COVID treats us, whether it's virtually or whether it's physically. It all depends on COVID and the guidelines that we have in place. But I do intend to have another camp next year. And if the spirit leads, we will probably get another book or activity book, because it's weird calling it a book. An activity book for that children's ministry.
Well, as we wrap up the interview, though, I mean, tell us a little bit about the camp so people could get, a little excited about what could possibly happen next year. What was your camp?
I can't really tell you all about the camp because what happens is there is different modes to choose from. So right now it's either to design a camp or to just use a camp that's already prepared, which is what I did for Raw. I've not figured out that yet.
No, but tell us about Raw. Tell us what Raw was about.
So Raw was the first ever virtual VBS in our diocese. Raw spoke to young children about even if life is ... God is good. So no matter what took place in your life, especially as young children, because we think that the babies don't go through anything, their life is happy-go-lucky. But one of the things that I notice is the same way we are affected by COVID-19, they are as well. They're stuck in a house, they just here. I mean, online school is definitely not easy. So Raw gave them that opportunity to experience God through everything. So even when life is scary, even when life gets mad, even when you are afraid, God is good. So through it all, God is good. So it was just a normal VBS amped up and ramped up, and singing and dancing and just having fun with food and activities. So again, it all surrounds, and I keep mentioning food because it is a wonderful resource that we don't tap into. Using snacks as a concept lesson or as an object lesson for them to have something to pinpoint. To this day we have persons talking to me, oh my gosh, my child never ate yogurt before, but they came to camp and they ate this yogurt, and they could tell me that this is because it's the Red Sea and all these they could tell you with this food, and every time they eat yogurt. Planning for camp is not for the faint of heart. All right, planning is the most amount of fun you will ever have, but it is also the most stressful time you will ever have. All right, because you are responsible for fun. Fun and learning is a difficult task to plan for.
Yeah.
Right, no matter the age group, but it is the best opportunity to get children in. All right. I mean, for the camp, and I laugh because for the camp, I was expecting 30 persons to show up. At the end of registration, I had to stop registration early. We had 150 children registered for camp.
150 or
150.
Wow.
And I was overwhelmed till every time I opened the Google form, I said, okay, I'm closing it now. I'm ending registration now. When it was at 50 children, I said, okay, this is enough. I can end it. And then I said, all right, I'll give it another day. Then I saw 80. I said, okay, that's enough. Then 88. By the afternoon of that Friday, we were at 150, and I had no idea what I was going to do. On the actual camp day, we ended up with like every day we had a minimum of 80 to 100 campers every day who had fun, who learned about God, who learned that everything is okay and God is good, and how to roar, and we had a blast. And that is the intent of children's ministry to me, for young ones between that 5, actually younger than 5, because we had little paws. So little paws were 3 to 5-year-olds, which was again not the intent. The intention was to have from 6-year-olds go up, and 2 persons registered, and they registered their 2-year-old. And I said to myself, okay, I'm not gonna say no. And then more and more persons registered their under 5. So I said, all right, we have to design a camp for them. So I mean, that is camp, and we can expect that for next year as well. And counselors. Now, counselors are your best friends. They allow for you to run a camp successfully. Counselors also bleed into when you're writing. I sent the books to the counselors so that they have a general idea of who I am, because really and truly the Lantern booklet represent me in a lot of ways. The write-ups, the stories behind that you find in the Lantern booklet is a lot of my experience, a lot of me in it. So when they got that, they kind of got the idea of who Auntie P is, right? So counselors for camp, again, they are your backbone. So if you are planning camp and thinking about planning camps, that is the way to go. Have trusted persons who you can get on board. Yeah, but as it pertains to swing back, as it pertains to future writings, I'm not going to say no, but I'm also not going to say yes. What I do intend to do, though, is to further my studies in children's ministry. So that when I do decide whether or not to do a book, do a camp, or do anything as it pertains to children's ministry, we do have that knowledge to back it up.
Fantastic. Well, Wispé, I would like to wish you all the best in all your endeavors. You know, looking forward to more booklets, looking forward to camps. Just looking forward to you really touching the younger ones in our diocese. You know, they need that special touch. They need that encouragement. And I mean, learning about God in a fun way, I mean, you can't go wrong with, right? So
shout out to school teachers. School teachers. Shout out to Sunday school teachers. Sunday school teachers really are the backbone of the church, and I don't care what anybody else says. Sunday school teachers rule the church. Right?
Amen.
Sunday school teachers all win.
And you know what? I would plant the seed of a Sunday school manual from you coming out. It may not be next year or the year before, the next year, sorry. But you know what? I'm planting that seed
for Sunday school teachers.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
A manual for Sunday school teachers or Sunday
school. Sunday school teachers, whatever. Written by Auntie P.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes.
That's the line, right?
That's the line. I'm not saying no, but I'm also not saying yes.
All right. Well, thank you so very much, Wispé, for your time. Thank you for coming on to Anglo Lit Fest 2021 and sharing your writings with us, and all the best.
Thank you for inviting me. And again, thank you for making me a part of this.
No problem. I really enjoy talking to Auntie P, and I really hope that at some point in time she'll say yes to something diocesan wise for Sunday school. But as the Holy Spirit leads. So we are at the end of Anglo Lit Fest. I mean, I just have to say, I just had so much fun, meeting these fabulous authors, hearing about their journeys, hearing them read from their books. I am just so filled and really, really blessed to see, people having ideas that start in their mind, and then they work at it, and it comes to fruition, and it's in the form of books. Like Keri said, it was like when she saw a book, it was like a child, that she'd give birth to a child. And I believe that's how all the authors feel, right? Now, we are so excited because Nalis are official supporters of Anglo Lit Fest. So we have a little video from Nalis that we want to share with you at this time.
We are proud to be at the center of his dream and his vision. At the center, connecting people with technology and offering tools for research. At the center of their success and creating a foundation for life's journey. At the center of learning and enriching the quality of life. When it comes to nation building, your library is at the center.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much, Nalis, for supporting Anglo Lit Fest, and we look forward to your continued support as we continue with this wonderful gathering of authors. I really, really enjoy it. I always enjoy meeting authors and just learning about their writings. So I really want to thank at this time. I want to thank Devon Mendoza for being here, Djennicia Francis for being here, Kerry Kittson, even though she was not here at the live, she was here with us in her interview. Kyle Difference Maker Grant, he's here with us. Sian Cuffy-Young, Reverend Dr. Lionel Richards, Wispé Decoteau. And we really hope that at some point in time for Anglo Lit Fest in the future, that Tristan Walker gets to come and talk about his writings, because he wrote crime fiction, which I think, with a local slant, and it really was enjoyable to read. So I really hope that soon he will be able to come on Anglo Lit Fest and talk to us about it. So everyone, thank you so much for spending this slot of time with us, hearing about the authors, and all these books are available on our platforms, the Planting Seeds platform and our diocesan website. So feel free to check out our diocesan website and Planting Seeds in order to get these books. And these books are really, really great gifts for family members. And remember that Sian was offering a very great deal. She said there's a Christmas special. Purchase a paperback for $120 and you will get the audiobook valued at $21.99 US, absolutely free. So thank you so much for those of you who stayed with us. I see Claudia is watching from Jamaica, right? We had Megan, we had Elizabeth. Wispé is here. Hi, Wispé. So glad you were able to join us. Pat was here. Michelle, Megan. Thank you so very much for joining us. And those who maybe didn't say anything in the chat, but you were watching on, thank you so very much. This was fantastic. Anglo Lit Fest 2021 has come to an end. Your host, Ayana James, thank you for being here with us. Have a wonderful evening. Bye, everyone.